Chapter 436. Tang Zhang and Wu left Dianan overnight, not because they were afraid of Long Shenyuan, but because there was no point in staying in Dianan anymore. As for the mess in the hotel, with Long Shenyuan's power, there naturally wouldn't be any trouble. In ordinary balance, the streets were the same as before, and the pedestrians were the same as usual. However, when Tang Zhang and Wu walked out of the station, they discovered something strange. Originally, the train station was a place where crooks and honest people mixed together. There were many swindlers, but when Tang Zhang looked around, he didn't see any traces of swindlers or pickpockets. There were only the hurried figures of passengers. Tang Zhang nodded his head in relief. This meant that under the governance of Lin Hu, Fire Phoenix and the others, the security in ordinary balance was much better. However, he didn't know that the government had spent a lot of effort on the security of ordinary balance. Now, ordinary balance was a forbidden area for swindlers and pickpockets. As long as they dared to come to ordinary balance, they would definitely be beaten up. Furthermore, the pickpocket would have their fingers chopped off. It was definitely a bloody punishment. Because of this, the security in ordinary balance had improved a lot in the past few months. Ordinary people felt that it was much safer to travel, and things like robbery and theft were basically completely eradicated. However, the nearby counties and cities had suffered a lot. Many criminals had entered, causing the local officials to be quite distressed. The two of them took a taxi to Shangfeng Shangshui district, only to find that there were people sneakily watching them from outside a street. Tang Zheng frowned. This was his grandfather's residence. Someone dared to sneak around here. Could it be that they had some ulterior motives? Tang Zheng's face darkened as he turned around and walked towards the few people. The few of them looked at Tang Zheng and Marshall, who had walked in front of them, in shock. "Who are you people?" Tang Zheng asked sternly. "Who are you? You're a stranger. You're not a resident here, right?" The other party was not afraid at all and asked arrogantly. "You guys are sneaking around here. Do you have some ulterior motive?" Tang Zheng went straight to the point. "You have no right to ask. Let me tell you, why don't you go and ask around? Ordinary balance is Brother Hu's territory, and this is a forbidden area. If anyone with bad intentions dares to come here and do bad things, you can come in standing and leave lying down." The other party said with a fierce look. Tang Zheng paused for a moment, then grinned and asked, "Are you Lin Hu's men? You've got guts, daring to call Brother Hu by his name. Are you guys sent by Lin Hu to protect Tang Dahai?" Tang Jing asked. "You? How did you know?" The other party was taken aback. The smile on Tang Zheng's face grew wider as he said, "Thank you for your hard work." The few of them were confused. They really didn't know why the other party had changed so much. However, they heard Tang Zheng say, "Go and tell Lin Hu that Tang Zheng has returned." After saying that, he turned around and walked into the neighborhood. Tang Zheng. This name is so familiar. I seem to have heard it somewhere before. The few of them scratched their heads. Suddenly, someone came to a realization and shouted, "Isn't that Big Brother Dragonhead's name?" "Yes, that's Big Brother Dragonhead's name. Big Brother Dragonhead is back. Quickly go and tell Brother Hu and Sister Phoenix." The few of them were excited as they looked at Tang Zheng's back. Their eyes were fervent, as if they were fans who saw their favorite celebrity. Licking their lips, one of them said, "I really saw Big Brother Dragonhead. His aura is indeed extraordinary." Of course, Big Brother Dragonhead rules over the entire Chongqing city's underworld and eats both the black and white. In the past, those who have seen Big Brother Dragonhead would often brag about him. This time, we have finally seen Big Brother Dragonhead in person. In the future, we can brag about it to others. Those little brats will definitely be jealous to death. Yes, I never thought that we would have such an honor. This mission is really profitable. Tang Zheng and Marshall had already walked far away, but they could clearly hear their conversation. Marshall curled her lips and ridiculed, "I never thought that you would have such high prestige in ordinary balance. Now that you've come to my territory, don't have any bad ideas. Otherwise, I won't be polite," Tang Zheng said with a smile. Marshall snorted. Just as she was about to retort, she heard the few of them say enviously, as expected of Big Brother Dragonhead, "This girl is so hot. She's both tall and beautiful. She's 100 times more beautiful than those celebrities on TV. Of course. Otherwise, how could she be worthy of Big Brother Dragonhead?" Marshall's eyebrows shot up. She was about to turn around but was pulled back by Tang Zheng. What are you doing? Nonsense. I'm going to kill them, Marshall said with killing intent. They are my little brothers. I won't allow you to do that. Humph, but they said such hooligan words, Marshall said angrily. Tang Zheng mischievously smiled and said, the two of us have already had skin contact. It doesn't seem wrong to say that you are my woman. You're absolutely wrong. Marshall opened his eyes wide. The reason I saved you back then was because the sect master gave me such an order. I don't have a good impression of you at all. Tang Zheng resentfully rubbed his nose and laughed involuntarily. Am I really that annoying? Marshall looked at him seriously and said righteously, you're really annoying. After saying that, he walked forward with large strides. Hey, wait a minute. Tang Zheng hurriedly called out. Marshall did not even turn his head as he angrily walked forward. You're going in the wrong direction. My house is in this building. Tang Zheng kindly reminded him. Marshall staggered and almost fell down. He suddenly turned around and said snappily, why didn't you say so earlier? I clearly told you to wait, but you didn't listen. Tang Zheng explained. Marshall blushed and glared at him. Lead the way. With Tang Zheng in front and Marshall at the back, he went upstairs and opened the door. The house was empty and his grandfather was not home. Everything was as before, clean and tidy. A soft singing voice came from a room. Although the voice was deliberately suppressed, how could it escape the ears of these two experts? Marshall asked in surprise, you're still hiding a beauty in a golden house? There's a woman in the house? Tang Zheng had a bitter face. Where was the woman? This singing voice could not be more familiar. It was the voice of the ginseng Ling-er. She never thought that she would still like to sing. She must have been educated by Tang Zheng before, so she could only secretly sing in a low voice to avoid being discovered by others. Seeing Tang Zheng's strange expression, Marshall became interested. As if he had discovered a new continent, he rushed towards the direction of the singing voice and said, I want to see what kind of woman she is. When she barged into Tang Zheng's bedroom, she found that it was empty and the singing stopped abruptly. Tang Zheng hurriedly chased after him. Just at this time, he heard the voice again. Master, you're finally back. You came back to see Ling-er. Ling-er missed you so much. On the balcony, the ginseng shook its leaves. It was extremely excited, as if it wanted to break free from the shackles of the flower pot and throw itself into Tang Zheng's embrace. Master, Ling-er misses you, Ling-er misses you. Ling-er was like a repeater, saying it over and over again. The leaves shook even more happily. Hearing this clear and sweet voice, Marshall was sure that she was not hallucinating. She looked around and her expression became strange. In the end, following the voice, she finally locked onto the ginseng. Marshall was 100% sure that the voice was coming from the ginseng. She pointed at Ling-er in a daze and asked, Your family's grass can talk? Ling-er is not grass, Ling-er is ginseng. Ling-er unhappily corrected. Ginseng, it has become a spirit. Marshall opened her mouth wide in shock. Tang Zheng shrugged. Since she already knew his identity and had seen so many demonic beasts, it was not a big deal to see a ginseng that had become a spirit. Thus, he nodded his head. Whiz! Xiaofan, who was on Tang Zheng's shoulder, jumped onto the balcony and sniffed Ling-er's body. Ling-er was so scared that she cried out pitifully, Master, Ling-er is very obedient. Tell it not to eat me. Xiaofan, be good. Tang Zheng hurriedly stopped him. Ling-er was very afraid of Xiaofan, and it was the same last time. Xiaofan pouted and strolled back to the bedroom. It rubbed against Tang Zheng's feet and then lazily jumped onto the bed. Marshall rubbed her forehead. Fortunately, her nerves were thick enough. She took a deep breath and asked, What else in your family has become a spirit? Tell me together. Don't be so scared. Tang Zheng laughed. You will be scared too, this doesn't seem like your style. Anyone would be scared, but since your ginseng has become a spirit, its medicinal effects must be very good. Marshall asked. What are you doing? Don't tell me you want to eat Ling-er? No, master, you can't let her eat Ling-er. Ling-er begged for mercy. Tang Zheng laughed and comforted. Ling-er, don't worry, no one can eat you. Thank you, master. Ling-er is very obedient. Master, when Ling-er blossoms, she can transform into a human's body. At that time, no one will eat Ling-er. Ling-er said with anticipation. Bloom. When will you bloom? I don't think it will take long. Then I look forward to that day. Marshall blankly listened to the conversation between the two and said, she can transform into a human. Of course, as long as demons reach a certain level, they can transform into humans. This is an ability bestowed upon us by the heavens. Ling-er said proudly. Marshall smacked her lips. This seemed to be beyond her understanding. Tang Zhang did not want to dwell on this topic and asked, Ling-er, where's grandfather? Grandpa went to work. Then you continue to stay at home. I'll go find grandpa. Master, will you be back later? Ling-er asked timidly. Of course I'm back. Ling-er's voice immediately became cheerful. Master is great. Ling-er will wait for Master to come back. Ling-er has a lot to say to Master. The two of them left the house. Marshall looked at Tang Zhang with a strange expression and asked, why are you adopting so many demons? Humph, you don't have good intentions. Tang Zhang rolled his eyes and said, you're a martial artist, you wouldn't understand even if I told you. If you don't say it, how do you know I don't understand? Marshall said, unwilling to give up. Tang Zhang shrugged his shoulders, stopped a car, and drove straight to the junkyard. Looking at the familiar city, Tang Zhang couldn't help but sigh. Although he had only left for a few months, it was as if he had left for a long time. Chapter 437. Tang Zhang saw the waste acquisition station from afar. The size of the acquisition station had doubled, and it was obvious that business had been very good these past few months. In fact, it was hard for the business of the acquisition station not to be good, because Tang Dahai was not doing it to earn money, but to help his old friends. The price was fair, and many people were willing to sell the waste to him. In addition, with Lin Hu's protection, no one would dare to come and cause trouble. Tang Dahai had all the advantages he needed. Wu stretched his neck, took a look and frowned. This generation was dirty and messy, and there was a complicated smell in the air. Tang Zhang, on the other hand, was already used to it. Instead, he was familiar with it as he strode towards the acquisition station. Wu followed closely behind. In this place, it was impossible for such a handsome man and beautiful woman to come, so the two of them instantly attracted a large number of gazes. Many people pointed at them, guessing who the two of them were. Before they could reach the door, a few people came out from the corner and blocked their path. Tang Zhang smiled slightly, guessing that these people were definitely sent by Lin Hu to protect his grandfather, so he said gently, I am Tang Zhang. At this time, an old man walked out of the acquisition station. When he saw Tang Zhang, he was obviously stunned, but then he was overjoyed. He turned his head and shouted into the acquisition station, Old Tang, come out quickly, your grandson Little Zhang is back. Little Zhang, come in quickly. When the lackeys saw this, they immediately realized who was standing in front of them. They all took a step back and looked at him fervently. Big Brother Dragon Head. Tang Zhang nodded his head in approval and walked into the acquisition station. The acquisition station's courtyard was very big, and it was filled with a small mountain of waste. Many people were busy sorting the waste. At this moment, a person walked out of the house. It was Tang Dahai. Tang Zhang quickened his steps and walked in front of his grandfather. He found that his complexion was even better than when he left, and his wrinkles had decreased by a lot. Grandfather, I'm back. Tang Zhang held his grandfather's hand and said excitedly. Tang Dahai was also very excited, but he complained, why did I come back? Didn't I say on the phone that I was very good? I told you to go to school well. Tang Zhang smiled faintly. I came out to do something, so I came back to see you on the way. It won't affect my studies. Really? Really? Tang Dahai heaved a sigh of relief, revealing an expression of relief. Old Tang, your grandson brought his girlfriend back to see you, and you're still complaining. You really don't know what's good for you. Little Zhang, don't look at how he is acting like nothing has happened. He often talks about you in front of us. Our ears are already worn out. The other elders joked. Tang Dahai smiled embarrassedly and said, don't let these old guys talk nonsense. His gaze swept across and landed on Marshall, unable to hide the surprise between his brows. He thought to himself, why did it change? Wasn't little Zheng's girlfriend that girl from the Fong family? Which family's girl was this tall and big girl? Could she really be little Zheng's new girlfriend? That won't do. That girl from the Fong family was not bad. How could she do something that would let him down? He definitely had to persuade little Zheng that he had to live up to his own conscience. Tang Dehai thought for a long time, but revealed a kind smile and asked, "Little Zheng, who is this girl?" "Haha, of course it's your granddaughter-in-law." Someone jeered. Marshall's cheeks were slightly red. She did not know why, but recently her face was red more than in the past few decades. She could not help but regret following them. Was there something wrong with these people's heads? How could they all think in that direction? Just a friend, temporarily staying in ordinary balance for a few. Tang Zheng calmly said. Tang Dehai heaved a sigh of relief, but the others were greatly disappointed. They whispered that such a beautiful girl, if only little Zheng could bring her into the family. Marshall wished she could immediately turn around and leave. "Little Zheng, since you're back, we'll go back first. I'll go buy some groceries and cook. You old friends, I'll leave this place to you," Tang Dehai said. "Haha, okay, old Tang, let's go back." The few of them walked out of the depot and saw a cloud of dust from afar. A few cars were speeding over. Tang Zheng slightly narrowed his eyes, already guessing who had come. The car stopped in front of them. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix led a group of little brothers out of the car. They excitedly looked at Tang Zheng and shouted, "Young Master Tang, you're back." The other little brothers lined up neatly, like soldiers lined up for inspection. They bowed towards Tang Zheng and shouted in unison, "Big Brother Dragon Head." Tang Zheng calmly nodded his head and said, "Why are you putting on such a big show?" Fire Phoenix rushed to say, "Young Master Tang, this is all because the brothers were too excited and wanted to see you too much." Tang Zheng did not blame them. He quietly observed Tang Dehai and found that his expression was normal. The old man seemed to have completely accepted Tang Zheng's identity. Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief and said, "Let's get in the car first. There are so many people here, let's not stand here and block their way." Tang Zheng helped his grandfather get into a luxurious business car. Marshall also got in the car. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix looked at each other, confused. They recognized Marshall. This woman was from the Marshall organization. How could she be with young Master Tang? Suppressing the doubts in his heart, Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix also got into the business car. The motorcade slowly started moving. Tang Dehai, who had been silent all this time, said, "These past few months they have done well. Everyone says that ordinary balance's public security is much better than before. There are fewer people doing bad things and the people are living and working in peace." Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix were overjoyed. Even if they said 100 words, they would not be able to compare to the old man's praise. This praise was enough to make them feel that their efforts in the past few months were not in vain. However, the two still humbly said, "Thank you, old man, for your praise. In fact, there are still many areas where our work is not up to par. In the future, we will continue to work hard." Tang Dehai said in a deep voice, "In the past, I did not approve of little Zhang hanging out with you. But after seeing your actions, it shows that you are not bad people in your bones. You have also done many good things. So in the future, I will not interfere with your matters." Tang Zheng was extremely gratified as he gave Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix a look of praise. The two felt comfortable as if they had suddenly drank a cup of ice water during the dog days of June, feeling refreshed from the top of their head to the bottom of their feet. "Young Master Tang, we have already prepared a welcome banquet for you. Director Mu has also rushed over directly from the company," Lin Hu said. Tang Zheng looked at his grandfather. The old man nodded his head and said, "Since you have prepared it, then don't waste it. Let's go together." Lin Hu smiled as if relieved of a heavy burden. He gave a thumbs up and said, "The old man's words are very true. We must not waste it." Ordinary Balance Landmark Building. The motorcade quietly stopped at the entrance. This landmark building had a 5-star hotel and a very luxurious restaurant. The banquet was booked here. Dozens of people clustered around these few people. This formation was obviously too luxurious. Moreover, those with discerning eyes could tell that the dozens of underlings were most likely people of the underworld. They all started to guess who exactly these few people in the middle were. Only, these people's clothes were too different. The young man and woman's temperament was not ordinary. especially the woman. Many people had never seen such a tall woman. Her pair of long legs were simply too eye-catching. Of course, the old man was also very eye-catching. His clothes were very simple. It was clear that they were old clothes from many years ago. He was protected like a national treasure. It was really strange. This strange team took the elevator directly to the restaurant. The restaurant was magnificent, but there was not a single diner. This was because the entire floor had been booked. Young Master Tang, let's go to the private room. It's quiet and convenient to talk. The others are in the hall. Lin Hu introduced. Tang Zheng nodded his head. The few of them went to the private room. This private room was very luxurious. Tang Dehai secretly sighed. He thought that this meal was definitely not cheap. However, the old man was an open-minded person and did not interfere. Before his but even warmed up, the private room's door was pushed open. A beautiful figure walked in and said, "Tang Zheng, you're finally back." "Big Sister Mu, long time no see." Tang Zheng greeted. "It's been hard on Big Sister Mu." Mu Hongyan specially came to Ordinary Balance to integrate the businesses under Tang Zheng. She was mainly responsible for building the company and legalizing these businesses. This kind of overall planning could only be done by a strong woman like Mu Hongyan in the business world. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix were both lacking. "Young Master Tang, Boss Mu has indeed worked hard. Otherwise, Fire Phoenix and I would definitely be at a loss." Lin Hu took the opportunity to praise. "Without your help, I would also be at a loss." Mu Hongyan said truthfully. "Eat first. We won't talk about work today." Tang Zheng waved his hand and set the tone. "Haha, good, let's eat. Tonight's theme is to welcome young Master Tang. Eat and drink well." The table was full of delicacies. Because Tang Dehai had taken the life-continuing pill, his body was much better than before. His appetite was also good. He ate many things that he had never eaten before. Furthermore, he drank a few glasses of wine, causing his face to become rosy. The old man also gradually relaxed and frequently clinked glasses with others. Wu was also forced to drink a few glasses of wine, but alcohol was child's play to her. Her expression was normal. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix accompanied Tang Zheng to the hall and said a few words, letting the little brothers outside see the style of the leader, winning waves of applause. In the past, Tang Zheng tried his best to keep a low profile, but today, he no longer kept a low profile. Even if he appeared with the identity of the leader of the Ordinary Balance, no one would find trouble with him because of this matter. As night fell and the banquet ended, Tang Zheng arranged for Wu to stay in the hotel upstairs and then accompanied the old man home alone. The grandfather and grandson pair slowly walked downstairs. As the night wind blew, the drunkenness weakened a bit. Tang Zheng supported the old man. The old man looked at him with gratification and said, "Little Zheng, Grandfather has to admit that you made the right decision to take these people under your command. Not only is it a good thing for you, but it is also a good thing for others. You must remember that you must continue to work hard in the future to make these people do good things and not do evil." Tang Zheng obviously understood the old man's thoughts and nodded seriously. "Grandfather, don't worry, I will definitely do this." Chapter 438. The next day, in a huge office, Tang Zheng, Mu Hongyan, Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix gathered together. Marshall could only watch from afar through the transparent glass wall. This was an extremely important meeting, so Tang Zheng naturally would not allow Marshall to attend. The few of them would occasionally glance at Ming Wu, as they were unable to see through him. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix were especially wary of Ming Wu. However, since Tang Zheng said that it was not a big problem, they would not object. Listening to the reports of the few people, Tang Zheng already had a rough idea of the businesses under his name. After the integration, these businesses were divided into 3 large areas: real estate, clubhouse and hotel. However, real estate was a small company, while clubhouses were the mainstay. There were big and small hotels, but there were no 5-star hotels. According to Mu Hongyan's suggestion, these 3 areas would be deeply excavated and developed. Now that the real estate market was booming, Wuxia had a large population, and the demand for housing was huge, so they could not give up on real estate, and had to make it bigger and stronger. The entertainment clubhouses also had to be reorganized, because although this industry was the mainstay, it was extremely messy. There were dozens of large and small clubhouses, each with a chaotic market position, and urgently needed to be sorted out, find their market position, and cover the different levels of customers. If the hotel scale was too small, it would not be beneficial to increase its reputation. It could be combined with the small-scale hotels to form a chain hotel, which would be beneficial to the brand's marketing. In addition, Mu Hongyan also suggested building a 5-star hotel. The country's economy was developed, and the people's needs were more diverse. To many people, they did not lack money, and this group of people's money was the easiest to earn, so building a 5-star hotel was imperative. Looking at so many suggestions and plans, Tang Zheng sighed. It was true that there were specializations in the industry. Letting him do these things, he was directly at a loss, while Mu Hongyan succeeded smoothly. She was indeed a talent. No wonder she could control such a large business like the Long family. He had really picked up a treasure. Seeing Tang Zheng lowering his head and not saying anything, Mu Hongyan asked nervously, "Tang Zheng, what do you think? Do you have any other opinions or suggestions? Bring it up and I'll amend it right away." Tang Zheng smiled. Just as he was about to say that he had no objections, he suddenly thought of a place, Ordinary Balance's courtyard. When he went to the Ordinary Balance courtyard, he had a very deep impression of it. Even with his current insight, the Ordinary Balance courtyard was extraordinarily extraordinary. It was no wonder that so many celebrities and officials of the Ordinary Balance courtyard flocked to it. This Ordinary Balance courtyard was the property of the Song family in Ordinary Balance, and it was doing very well. Tang Zheng's relationship with the Song family was not good. Since the Song family opened such an Ordinary Balance courtyard in his territory, Tang Zheng naturally could not watch him make a lot of money. "Do you know about the Ordinary Balance villa?" Tang Zheng asked. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix nodded. "Of course we know. This courtyard is not in the city, but its standards are very high. Many rich people go there to spend money, and it is said that it has everything. It is even better than the heaven on earth in the capital." "How come I have never heard of it?" Mu Hongyan said with surprise. "Chief Mu has not been in Ordinary Balance for long, and you are also obsessed with work. It is normal that you do not know." Fire Phoenix comforted her. Mu Hongyan said with shame, "This is my dereliction of duty. I did not do my job well." Tang Zheng waved his hand, indicating that Mu Hongyan did not need to blame herself, and said, "I went to the Ordinary Balance courtyard once, and the level of consumption there is more than one level higher than our club. Since we want to improve the quality of our club, then we must move towards the goal of defeating the Ordinary Balance courtyard." Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix were quite excited when they heard this, and said, "Young Master Tang, what you mean is that we must get rid of the Ordinary Balance courtyard?" Tang Zheng nodded. "We must use normal business competition to defeat our opponents, and make the Song family scram from Ordinary Balance." "Good, make the Song family scram." Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix no longer feared the large families, and they were more willing to believe that Tang Zheng could create miracles. Others were afraid of the large families, but they were not. Mu Hongyan's eyebrows relaxed and said, "Oh, since you have made your decision, then we will follow this method. This is the Ordinary Balance, and not the Song family's sphere of influence. They are far beyond their reach, and even if we defeat them, they will not be able to make any big waves." "Haha, Big Sister Mu is really domineering." Tang Zheng gave a thumbs up. What he needed right now was this kind of talent that could look down on the world. So what if they were large families? As long as they worked hard, they would still be able to defeat them, and trample them beneath their feet. As for real estate and hotels, I don't know anything about them. You can discuss this matter. I believe in you." Tang Zheng waved his hand, and directly became a shopkeeper who did not do anything. "Tang Zheng, expanding the scale is indeed a top priority, but the most important point is that we do not have the money." Mu Hongyan hesitated for a moment before saying, "Ah, no money?" Tang Zheng was shocked. He looked at Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix, and the two lowered their heads in shame and said, "Young Master Tang, it's all our fault." "You can't blame them. Although this stall looks very big, there are many places where money is needed, so naturally the profits are not much. The other key point is that this plan requires a large amount of money, and it is not something that this stall can support." Mu Hongyan explained. Now that the security in Ordinary Balance City had improved, and Tang Zheng's income compared to when Huang Si was in charge of Ordinary Balance City was lacking the income from drugs. This was the biggest source of income, so there was a shortage of funds. Tang Zheng pondered for a moment and thought of this point. This was his rule, so he could not blame Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix. Of course, he did not regret his decision. Since he lacked money, then he would think of a way to get it. You guys do your best and summarize how much money we are lacking. I will think of a way to solve this shortfall. Tang Zheng waved his hand and said boldly. Several people's eyes lit up and they praised. I knew young Master Tang would have a way. Mu Hongyan looked at him curiously, not knowing where he would get the money. This was not a shortfall of a few million, but an astronomical figure for ordinary people. However, since the boss was so confident, the employees were naturally happy. After discussing a few more things, Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix walked out, leaving only Mu Hongyan in the office. Seeing that she wanted to say something but hesitated, Tang Jing asked curiously, Sister Mu, if there's anything you want to say, we don't have to be so estranged. Mu Hongyan took a deep breath and asked, You killed Long Tingyu? After all, Mu Hongyan came from the Long family, so such important news could not be hidden from her ears. Tang Zheng's expression instantly became serious. Yes. Mu Hongyan's heart thumped, and she asked hesitantly, Are you doing this for me and Nana? Tang Zheng was stunned. When he made his move, he was in a hurry and did not think so much. Perhaps it was because of the mother and daughter. Tang Zheng squeezed out a smile and said, Don't think too much about it. This kind of person who doesn't even let his own niece off is not worthy of living in this world. Even though he said that, Mu Hongyan was even more certain that Tang Zheng did this for her and Nana, and her heart couldn't help but feel waves of warmth. Ever since her husband passed away, no one had ever cared so much about them. She was very clear about the consequences of killing Long Tingyu, especially for someone who didn't have much of a foundation. Then aren't you in big trouble for us? This. Mu Hongyan was at a loss for words. Her eyes were red, and she was about to cry. Tang Zheng was shocked and immediately comforted her. Sister Mu, don't be like this, I'm fine. This isn't a big problem, it's just a small matter. If this is a small matter, then what is a big matter? You don't have to comfort me, I understand. Mu Hongyan wiped the corner of her eyes and said. Looking at her delicate and pitiful appearance, she didn't have the appearance of a strong woman just now. It made people's hearts beat faster, and a tear fell from the corner of her eye. Seeing that, Tang Zheng reached out his finger and gently caressed her cheek, wiping away the tear. Mu Hongyan's entire body trembled. This kind of intimate action made her extremely shy. It was not good to retreat, nor was it good to enter. For a moment, she was stunned on the spot. Tang Zheng cursed in his heart he was too frivolous, and quickly retracted his hand without leaving a trace, saying, Sister Mu, this problem has been solved. Long Xianyuan has already found me, and was prepared to take revenge for Long Tingyu, but he did not succeed, and I told him that Long Tingyu colluded with the island nation to frame you, and even tried to assassinate you and Nana. He should investigate thoroughly. You don't have to comfort me. How could Mu Hongyan believe that Tang Zheng was Long Xuanyuan's opponent? Mu Hongyan was not a martial artist, but her knowledge was extraordinary. In her heart, Long Xianyuan was like a god of war, invincible. Tang Zheng was so young. How could he be his opponent? Although he said it so easily, he must have suffered a great loss at Long Xuanyuan's hands. The more he downplayed it, the more uncomfortable Mu Hongyan felt. She thought to herself, he treats me so well, how should I repay him in the future? All right, Sister Mu, then I won't disturb you anymore. I still have to think of a way for money. I originally thought that I was a rich man, but I didn't expect that I was a loser, haha. Tang Zheng joked. Mu Hongyan squeezed out a smile and said, It's already very rare for you to have such achievements at your age. You didn't start from scratch. You're much stronger than those aristocratic children. Then I'll thank you for your praise, Sister Mu. In the future, I'll leave the business matters to you. Mu Hongyan nodded seriously. Don't worry, I will do my best to turn your business into a real business empire. With your words, I'm relieved. Tang Zheng waved his hand and walked out of the office. Marshall looked at him with a strange expression and teased. Taking advantage of a woman again, humph, men are fickle. Tang Zheng was speechless. How did he take advantage of her? He was too lazy to care about her. Right now, he had to think of a way to get money, and a large amount of money at that. Chapter 439. Tang Zheng. Why haven't you returned to the capital yet? After causing such a big mess, do you still have beauties to accompany you every day? Yi Dingdong's voice was filled with anger. Tang Zheng quickly moved the phone away and waited for her to finish venting before asking, Ding Dang, what happened? Why are you so angry? Your identity as a cultivator has been exposed. Do you think it's a big deal? Do you know how big of a storm this matter has caused in the capital? Yi Dingdang asked curiously. I'm not in the capital. How big of a storm can there be? Tang Zheng disagreed. But you are the son-in-law of the Ye family. Yi Dingdang blurted out in a moment of desperation, but she suddenly realized something and immediately shut her mouth. Tang Zheng's face flashed with a mischievous look, but he understood what she meant. In the eyes of outsiders, his relationship with the Ye family was not shallow. With his identity as a cultivator exposed, the Ye family would naturally be the first to bear the brunt and be affected. This was also where Tang Zheng was not considerate, so he asked, What exactly is the situation? I can't explain it clearly in a few words. Immediately, get the hell back to the capital right now. Also, stay away from that marshal by your side. The people of the martial organization are not good people. Don't be confused by beauty and forget your direction. With a pa sound, the phone was hung up. Tang Zheng thought back to Yi Dingdong's words and touched his nose. He thought to himself, why does it sound sour? Which little lover called again? Marshal asked with a sneer. Tang Zheng shrugged and said, Am I really that promiscuous? Isn't that so? As far as I know, you have a few women by your side, and none of them are ordinary people. Marshal said directly. That's right. You really aren't an ordinary person. Tang Zheng said sincerely. The meaning of this sentence was that Marshal was also his woman. Marshal raised her eyebrows and said angrily, You're taking advantage of me again. Hee, didn't you say that yourself? Marshal coldly snorted and turned her head. She couldn't beat him in a fight, so she could only pretend that she didn't hear him. Tang Zheng teased enough and said, We'll return to the capital immediately. After bidding farewell to Lin Hu and the others, he found his grandfather and chatted for a while. Tang Zheng brought Xiao Bai and Linger on a plane to the capital. This time, it was Linger specially asked him to bring her along. It was as if she felt that she was about to bloom, so of course, she hoped that Tang Zheng would witness that moment. Tang Zheng was also looking forward to it, so he agreed. Tang Zheng's, Tang Zheng, Tang Zheng, Tang Zheng, Tang Zheng's SDTSS. However, when the two of them walked out of the airport, a nimble figure rushed over and threw herself into Tang Zheng's embrace. Big brother, you're finally back. Nana missed you so much. Nana said excitedly with a pink face. Tang Zheng picked her up, holding the flower pot in one hand and Nana in the other, and strode towards a luxury car in the distance. Yi Dingdang was leaning against the car door, frowning as she stared at the few of them. Her bright eyes kept sweeping over Marshal's body, and her brows tightened even more. Tang Zheng gave Yi Dingdang a smile that he thought was brilliant, and said, Don't frown, look at the wrinkles. Wrinkles? Where did I get the wrinkles? Yi Dingdang subconsciously touched her cheek. Humph, you dare to tease me, you really live a carefree life. In an instant, she realized that she had been played. Her expression became even more stern, and she snappily asked, Didn't you go to southern Yunnan for archaeology? How come so many things happened again? Tang Zheng shrugged and said, The weather is unpredictable, and people are unpredictable. This is not something I can control. I think you're just lying to me. What archaeology? You've created such a big storm. Am I not worthy of your trust? You disappeared for so long without leaving any news. If it wasn't for my dad having some sources of information in the ordinary balance, he wouldn't have known that you ran to the ordinary balance. The more Yi Dingdang spoke, the more agitated she became. It was obvious that she was furious. Tang Zheng looked at her in astonishment. In a trance, she seemed to have returned to her high school appearance as a big sister, domineering and overbearing. Although her words were sharp, the concern she revealed was real. Tang Zheng was not angry. Instead, he felt warm in his heart. While speaking, Yi Dingdong's eyes flashed with a sparkling light. This period of time was indeed the most difficult for her to endure. She and the Ye family did not expect that Tang Zheng would cause such a huge commotion when he went to southern Yunnan. First, he killed Long Tingyu, which immediately caused a huge uproar, causing all the great families in the capital to be shocked. This was the rhythm of turning the sky upside down. The Ye family was ostracized and malevolent from all sides. Many people speculated that since Tang Zhang was the son-in-law of the Ye family, the anger of the Long family would definitely be completely poured out on the Ye family. However, the Ye family was not affected. Long Shenyuan seemed to have swallowed his anger, which made others feel that it was inconceivable. Just when everyone was surprised, another bomb exploded. Tang Zhang was actually a cultivator, which was even more shocking than him killing Long Tingyu. After all, killing Long Tingyu was only related to the Long family, but the identity of a cultivator was contrary to the entire world. Furthermore, he was viewed as a thorn in the flesh by the martial sect. None of the great families dared to go against the martial sect. If they were to get involved with a cultivator, a great family could face a disaster. Many people immediately began to gloat, hoping that the Ye family would be dragged down and destroyed. The undercurrents in the capital were surging. Many of the forces that were originally biased towards the Ye family had changed sides. The Ye family was besieged on all sides, and the situation was not optimistic. There was also an intense debate within the Ye family, which was divided into two sides. One side supported Tang Zhang, and believed that at this critical moment, Tang Zhang should be behind him, providing him with a strong backing. After all, Tang Zhang had done the Ye family a great favor. The representative of this side was Yi Dingdong's family of 3. The other side insisted on distancing themselves from Tang Zhang, and not being dragged into the quagmire to preserve the strength of the Ye family. This was the opinion of the majority of the Ye family, and the representative was Yi Dingdong's uncle. The head of the Ye family, Yi Xuanji, did not express his opinion, but he also did not make a decision. Therefore, the Ye family was currently in a foul atmosphere, and everyone was in a state of panic. Yi Dingdong's family of 3 was under great pressure. Many people accused them of causing the Ye family to suffer a calamity. They would be the sinners of the Ye family. Yi Dingdang would be met with supercilious looks when she returned to the Ye family's mansion, especially her cousin, who was even more outspoken and criticized her face to face. If not for Yi Dingdong's strong personality, she would have already collapsed in such an environment. But the reason why she was angry was not because of the criticism and neglect, but because she was worried about Tang Zhang's safety. What if he was killed by the martial organization? She did not dare to imagine the consequences. She was already used to his existence. Although Tang Zhang had angered her to the point of madness many times, she still cared about him from the bottom of her heart. Now that she saw him safe and sound, all the emotions in her heart surged out. Of course, the other thing that made her flip out was that she was actually together with Marshall. Could it be that he had gone crazy? Did he not remember how fierce this woman was? Back then, Marshall almost killed the two of them. Brother, Sister Ding Dang has been very worried about you during this period of time. She has been talking about you, and even called your name when she was sleeping at night. Nana pursed her lips and said seriously, "Nana." Yi Dingdong's anger instantly disappeared like a deflated balloon when she heard these words. She became very embarrassed. Nana clearly did not understand Yi Dingdong's meaning. Instead, she seemed to have received encouragement as she spoke even more energetically. Sister Ding Dang often has nightmares. She says not to hurt Tang Zhang, and if there's anything, just come at her. Later on, she even cried. "Nana, don't say any more." Yi Dingdang finally could not hold back and loudly stopped her. Nana looked at her blankly, thinking that Nana was speaking the truth. Her mother had always taught Nana to be an honest child, otherwise her nose would grow long like Pinocchio. Tang Zheng's emotions fluctuated as he gently put down Nana, then put down the flower pot and looked at Yi Dingdang seriously. Yi Dingdang had never been looked at like this by him before. She could not help but feel flustered as she asked, "What are you doing?" Tang Zheng did not say anything. He opened his arms and suddenly hugged Yi Dingdang tightly in his embrace. Yi Dingdang was instantly stunned. There was only one feeling in her heart. His embrace was so warm and his chest was so broad. She suddenly had the urge to cry. Why did she pay so much? Wasn't it all for such an embrace? With such a hug, everything she had done was worth it. She could not help but stretch out her hands and wrap them around Tang Zheng's waist. For the first time in her life, she quietly enjoyed this warmth. Nana stared with her big round eyes as she curiously watched this scene. The passers-by also cast sidelong glances. The combination of a handsome man and a beautiful woman was especially eye-catching no matter where they went. Marshall remained calm and expressionless as if this scene had nothing to do with her. Aya, shameful. Mother said I can't watch a boy and a girl hugging together. Nana suddenly covered her eyes and shyly said. Tang Zheng laughed out loud. What's wrong with that? It's not like it's something shameful. Get in the car. I'll deal with you when we get back. Yi Dingdang glared at him. Her tone was like a wife talking to her husband, causing one's imagination to run wild. Tang Zheng chuckled and carried Nana into the car. Marshall did not say a word and also wanted to get in the car. Suddenly, Yi Dingdang frowned and shouted, Stop! You're not allowed to get in the car. Marshall stopped and looked at Yi Dingdang with a cold face. Yi Dingdang was not afraid at all. She stretched her neck and stared back at her without blinking and said, This is my car. You're not welcome. Back then in ordinary balance, Marshall was so overbearing. She directly killed her way into the Ye family, captured Yi Dingdang's parents, and even chased after Yi Dingdang and Tang Zheng. If not for their good luck, the two of them would have already died at her hands. How could this grudge be resolved so easily? Tang Zheng instantly guessed Yi Dingdang's thoughts. Moreover, Yi Dingdang was in such a hurry to call him back. There must be a lot of secret talks to follow, so it was not convenient for him to let Marshall stay by his side. Thus he said to Marshall, Find a place to stay. If there's anything, contact me. Marshall looked at him in astonishment. After confirming that he was not joking, she coldly snorted and left without saying a word. Right now, she was begging to stay by Tang Zheng's side. Of course, she did not dare to disobey Tang Zheng's wishes. Moreover, she did not have the ability to force Tang Zheng. She could only silently endure. Yi Dingdang looked at Marshall's back in disbelief and said, Why is she so obedient? Tang Zheng shrugged and said, She is my captive. So what if she doesn't listen? Captive? Yi Dingdong's eyes lit up as if she had discovered a new continent. It's a long story. Let's talk about it when we get back. Chapter 440. The Yi family mansion was still the same big courtyard that was quiet amidst the chaos. As soon as the carriage stopped, Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang quickly walked over to welcome them. Tang Zheng. Yi Tianlei called out in a deep voice. Tang Zheng nodded and greeted, Uncle Yi. Feng Xinyang sized up Tang Zheng with her pair of beautiful eyes, as if there were flowers on his body. She clicked her tongue and praised, Little handsome brother, I really misjudged you. You really hid your strength well. Tang Zheng said, Aunt Feng, I'm really sorry. I hid it from you. Feng Xinyang smiled without thinking. If it was me, I wouldn't tell anyone either. After all, this is a matter of life and death. It's just that. She turned her head and glanced at Yi Dingdang and continued. It's just that our family's girl also helped you hide it from us. It's really true that girls side with outsiders. When a girl is of age, she can't be kept at home. Feng Xinyang. Yi Dingdang heard this and blushed. She glared at Feng Xinyang. Feng Xinyang laughed tenderly. Little handsome brother, you see, I was right. This girl has a one-track mind. In her heart, we are not as important as you. Aunt Feng is joking. Dingdang is very respectful to you two elders. Tang Zheng said. Is that so? It's enough for this girl to have this kind of thought. However, in my entire life, I have never seen a cultivator before. To think that such a famous cultivator would be by my side. This is truly an eye-opener. Let me take a closer look and see what is so different about him. Feng Xinyang said. You don't say. The aura on your body has changed a lot. I can't see through you anymore. Your current cultivation is equivalent to a warrior? This. Tang Zheng hesitated for a moment and said truthfully, 5th grade innate stage. What? 5th grade innate realm? Feng Xinyang opened her eyes wide in astonishment. She had also just broken through the threshold of the 2nd grade innate stage not long ago, and Yi Tianlei was still lingering around the 1st grade innate stage. She never thought that in the blink of an eye, Tang Zheng would leave them far behind. They clearly remembered that when they first met Tang Zheng, he was still a brat who had just entered the school. His speed was comparable to sitting on a rocket. Yi Tianlei looked ashamed. He shook his head and said, The younger generation will surpass us in time. Tang Zheng, you really surprised us. It's more than just a big surprise. This is simply a miracle. What's the four childs of the capital? I think they're not even fit to carry the shoes of this little handsome guy. Feng Xinyang's face was smiling like a flower, and she praised without restraint. Yi Dingdong's eyes lit up. In the past, she had wanted to compete with Tang Zheng. But now, she realized that the gap between the two of them was getting bigger and bigger. However, at this moment, she was not depressed. On the contrary, she was happy. She was happy for Tang Zheng. This was the unparalleled hero in her heart. Yi Dingdang had worked very hard in her cultivation of the Jade Women's Heart Sutra. After Tian Chanzi's breakthrough, she had broken through to the second stage of the post-celestial stage. She had also used the time when Tang Zhang had gone to South Yunnan to advance by leaps and bounds. It had to be known that one of the four childs of the capital, Chu Xiaofan, was only at the second stage of the post-celestial stage, but Yi Dingdang had already surpassed him. Furthermore, she had advanced by leaps and bounds in such a short period of time. This news had already spread throughout the capital's circle. Everyone knew that the Ye family had produced such a genius in martial arts. Yi Xuanji placed more and more importance on this granddaughter of his, and a lot of resources were given to her. This made the eldest daughter of the Ye family, Yi Meiyu, even more dissatisfied. Yi Meiyu and Yi Dingdang had already engaged in a war of words several times, and their relationship was very stiff. Yi Dingdang looked at Tang Zheng in a daze, and said, "Now that there is a new four childs of the capital, isn't Tang Zheng the leader of the four childs? It's fine if you don't want the title of a silk pants. You still need to practice and do things steadily." Yi Tianlei warned, "Hurry up and go in. The others are waiting anxiously." "Humph, so what if they wait for a while?" Feng Xinyang curled his lips, disapproving. All of them have the attitude of a punitive expedition, as if someone owes them something. Yi Tianlei shook his head and said, "Tang Zheng, later on if there is anything, we will definitely take care of it for you." Tang Zheng felt warmth in his heart, and said, "Uncle Yi, my identity is very troublesome, right?" Yi Tianlei squeezed out a smile, and said, "No matter how big the trouble is, we can still work together to solve it." Feng Xinyang said hurriedly, "Little handsome brother, others are afraid of your identity, afraid of getting into trouble, but I, Feng Xinyang, am not afraid, I just dare to do what others do not dare to do. Moreover, so what if you're a cultivator? You are my, Feng Xinyang's, future son-in-law. Whoever wants to deal with you must first pass through me, Feng Xinyang." Feng Xinyang was valiant and heroic. Such powerful words made Tang Zheng feel incomparably moved. In fact, he was very clear about the trouble that could arise if his identity was exposed. Feng Xinyang and Yi Tianlei were also very clear about it, but the two still stood behind him without any complaints. This kind of support and trust was hard to describe. In the car, Tang Zheng had already heard Yi Dingdang talk about the problems that the Ye family might encounter this time. At this moment, the Ye family's mansion was gathered with the core members of the Ye family. The Ye family had a large business, with Yi Xuanji's bloodline as the leader, but there were also other people with the surname Yi, although they were not as powerful as Yi Xuanji, but they had the right to speak in the Ye family's affairs. This time, the Ye family held a family meeting in order to explore the Ye family's attitude towards Tang Zheng, so that the Ye family could avoid risks and win benefits. "Tang Zheng, my uncle Yi Tianming has returned to the capital." Those people all listened to him. This time, he took the initiative to let the Ye family cut ties with you. You must pay attention later. Yi Dingdang put away her smile and reminded him in a low voice with a sullen face. "Yi Tianming, that's Yi Ku and Yi Meiyu's father?" "Yes, some time ago, he was abroad discussing business and just came back not long ago. It is said that his business abroad was not finished yet, so he rushed back without stopping. I don't think he has any good intentions." Yi Dingdang curled her lips and said unhappily, "Dingdang, don't talk nonsense." Yi Tianlei's expression sank as he warned. Dingdang, we are not afraid. What tricks do they have up their sleeves? If soldiers come, we will block them. If water comes, we will use earth to block it. We are not afraid. Don't be like your father, acting like a block of wood. If they want to bully us, it won't be that easy." Yi Tianlei shook his head and did not speak. As they entered the mansion, Tang Zheng clearly felt that the atmosphere was much more dignified, and he felt that there were many eyes peeping at him in the dark. His heart moved. This was probably the Ye family guarding against him. After all, he was getting more and more out of control, like a bomb that could explode at any time. He didn't care, and strode with the three of them to the entrance of the huge meeting hall. The noise in the hall stopped abruptly, and everyone's eyes were attracted. Tang Zheng narrowed his eyes slightly and saw the situation in the hall clearly. Yi Xuanji was sitting in the middle, with a few old men sitting next to him, and another middle-aged man sitting next to him. This middle-aged man was somewhat similar to Yi Xuanji's. Tang Zheng recognized at a glance that this must be Yi Xuanji's eldest son, Yi Tianming. Yi Tianming had thick eyebrows and big eyes, and was silent. He was completely different from the others who were chattering non-stop. His calmness was somewhat similar to Yi Xuanji's. Sure enough, a tiger father does not have a dog son. In addition, Tang Zheng clearly felt that this person was already an innate martial artist, and his cultivation was higher than Yi Tianlei's. Moreover, the others looked at Yi Tianming with awe. Obviously, his prestige in the Ye family was quite high. There were a total of more than 10 people sitting in the hall. Yi Ku and Yi Meiyu were among them. The two of them whispered to each other. When Tang Zheng and the others appeared, their gazes were all attracted. Yi Meiyu did not hide the schadenfreude in her heart, while Yi Ku nodded towards Tang Zheng, while the others stared at Tang Zheng with scrutinizing and vigilant eyes. Yi Xuanji's turbid old eyes lit up as he stared at Tang Zheng. His heart was filled with mixed feelings, and at this moment, he suddenly realized, no wonder the other party could possess such a heaven-defying item like the life-continuing pill at such a young age. It turned out that he was a mysterious cultivator. At this moment, Yi Xuanji was hesitant and had yet to make a decision, because this decision was related to the survival of the Ye family. It was too important. Take a seat, Yi Xuanji shouted, and a person hurriedly brought a chair and deliberately placed it in the middle of the hall. Tang Zheng, please. Tang Zheng's expression did not change. He walked straight over, and sat in the middle of the hall under everyone's gaze, like an abyss, like a prison, as calm as Mount Tai, completely ignoring the strange gazes and the oppressive atmosphere from all directions. Yi Tianlei's family of 3 also took their seats. The hall was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Tang Zheng, are you a cultivator? Yi Xuanji asked directly. Although there was no suspense in this question, he still had to ask it himself. Tang Zheng said without batting an eyelid. Yes. Bas. Discussions broke out as many people whispered to each other. Quiet, noisy. What kind of scandal is this? Yi Xuanji shouted angrily. Everyone immediately fell silent, but their eyes could no longer leave Tang Zheng, as if they really wanted to see what was different about him. You're a cultivator. That means you're a martial artist's enemy. Yi Xuanji said after pondering for a while. Tang Zheng laughed softly and said, So you're saying, you've made such a big scene, because you want to take my life here today? Killing intent burst out in the hall. Yi Dingdong's face became pale. Just as she was about to stand up, she was pulled back by Feng Xinyang, and said in a low voice, Calm down. Yi Dingdang was extremely anxious, and continued to watch. Killing a cultivator is not the responsibility of the Ye family, but the responsibility of the martial organization. Yi Xuanji said. In reality, normal families had never come into contact with Xiaozhe before, so they didn't have any deep hatred for them. Hee, I thought that all the martial artists in the world hated cultivators. Tang Zheng said with a playful smile. I have no enmity with you. Why would I hate you? But cultivators are after all a different species. They are not welcomed, and many people in the capital want to kill you. Yi Xuanji said bluntly. As long as you have the ability, you can come and take my head. Tang Zheng pointed at his own head, looked around, and said without fear. Many people looked at his eyes, and lowered their heads. Tang Zheng's eyes were too sharp, showing off his ability, causing people's hearts to jump, not daring to look straight at him. Chapter 441. Tang Zheng's imposing manner made many people lower their heads. Yi Xuanji saw this and sighed in his heart. Too many people in the Ye family had lived a peaceful life for too long. Their spirit had been completely worn out. They did not even dare to look directly at Tang Zheng. Others are interested in your head, but it doesn't mean that the Ye family is also interested. Do you know that because of you, the Yi family has been condemned by the public. How much pressure is that? Yi Tianming finally opened his mouth. Of course, he would not allow everyone to be intimidated by Tang Zheng's aura. Tang Zheng raised his eyebrows and looked at Yi Tianming. Their eyes met and Yi Tianming's imposing manner was not weak either. Oh, so you're saying that today you want to denounce me? Tang Zheng grinned and asked. If you think so, it's okay. Yi Tianming said. Yi Xuanji heard this and frowned slightly, but he did not stop him. Then I'd like to see how you're going to denounce me. Tang Zheng was interested and stared at him with a faint smile. Yi Tianming was about to speak, but Yi Tianlei interrupted and said, Brother, Tang Zheng did not do anything wrong to the Ye family. Moreover, he did not cause any direct losses to the Ye family. How can we denounce him? Yi Tianming stared at Yi Tianlei. Yi Tianming's feelings toward his younger brother were complicated. When he was young, Yi Tianlei was better than Yi Tianming in all aspects. He was even likely to replace him as the head of the family. Later, Yi Tianlei was injured and his qualifications decreased sharply. Because of various conflicts, he was even expelled from the Ye family. The pressure on Yi Tianming was finally lifted. Yi Tianlei grew up quickly and was almost the heir of the family. However, things did not go according to his wishes. Yi Tianlei came back and his skills improved by leaps and bounds. He even broke through the innate realm and was very likely to reach the guru realm in the future. Initially, Yi Tianming did not take it seriously. He was still dealing with business overseas. However, after hearing the report from his son and daughter, he realized that he had been too careless. This younger brother of hers was still so unexpected, especially when he found a son-in-law from who knows where and actually made a name for himself in the capital. First, he killed the Chu clan Xiantian expert. Then he caused a ruckus at Old Master Yan's birthday banquet and escaped unscathed. Then, there was the Martial Arts Society Assembly, and he was also inextricably linked to the martial arts sect and the Li Palace. These great achievements were too much for the eyes to take in. Dazzling. However, all of this was not over yet. In the end, it was revealed that he was a cultivator. This bombshell really made everyone in the know dizzy. Seeing Tang Zheng's current performance, Yi Tianming's heart grew heavier. Obviously, after witnessing it with his own eyes, Tang Zheng was more extraordinary and difficult to deal with than he had expected. Yi Tianming had long regarded the position of the family head as his own. Now that Tang Zheng had jumped out, it was very likely that he would lose the position of the family head. Of course, he had to deal with it with 100% of his energy. This time, there was no doubt that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He had to use this opportunity to attack Yi Tianlei's momentum and drive him out of the competition for the position of the family head. You are too presumptuous to say that you did not cause any losses to the Ye family. Don't you see that many people have already stopped cooperating with us? Many people are secretly coveting the Ye family, hoping that the Ye family will collapse so that they can get a share of the profits. Yi Tianming said. Yes, Tianming is right. Our business has been greatly affected. This is a real loss of money. Someone immediately agreed. Among them, several elders kept nodding. Obviously, they agreed with Yi Tianming. Yi Tianlei was not to be outdone and retorted. I said that this is not a bad thing. On the contrary, it is a good thing. It can let us see who are fence-sitters. In the future we will stop cooperating with these people. The Ye family does not need fence-sitters. We only need strong supporters and followers. Twisting words and forcing logic. Yi Tianming said disdainfully. Yi Meiyu rolled her eyes and said, Isn't Wu Zong specialized in dealing with cultivators? Such a cultivator is associated with our Ye family. Wu Zong will not let him go, let alone our Ye family. When the time comes, everyone will go to the Hall of Hell to gather. I think some people will regret it too late. These words expressed the thoughts of many people. In fact, the Ye family was not worried about the threat of the other families. They were mainly worried about the three great mysterious organizations. After all these years, the Ye family and the other great families were old rivals. They had fought countless times and were still alive. That meant that they had the ability to protect themselves. However, against the three great mysterious organizations, not to mention the Ye family, even the Yen family, the leader of the few great families, did not have much power to resist. This was also the question that Yi Xuanji was most concerned about. Therefore, He did not say anything to stop them. Instead, he looked at Tang Zhang with burning eyes, as if he was also looking forward to his answer. Yi Tianlei was about to speak, but Tang Zhang beat him to it and said, Wu Zong is not omnipotent. In this world, they can't kill whoever they want. Ever since the trip to the 100,000 Mountains, Tang Zhang's fear of Wu Zong had completely disappeared. Even the most powerful patriarch of Wu Zong was not a match for 100 Faces Star-Lord. From this, it could be seen that in front of a strong enough cultivator, Wu Zong was not as big of a threat as one would imagine. The reason why Wu Zong was so powerful today was because the original cultivators of this world were too weak. It was difficult for them to fight against Wu Zong. When these words came out, everyone was dumbfounded. No one thought that Tang Zhang would say such a thing. After a short moment of silence, the hall burst into laughter. Haha, arrogant. This is the most shameless boasting I have ever heard in my life. Yes, I think he was scared silly by Wu Zong. He actually dared to speak such nonsense. Letting this kind of person stay in the Ye family is simply pushing the Ye family into the abyss of destruction. The Ye family must cut off all ties with him. We cannot become a sacrifice for his madness. Everyone spoke one after another, chattering endlessly. They were filled with righteous indignation as they reprimanded Tang Zhang. Even Yi Xuanji's face flashed with a hint of displeasure. Coincidentally, Yi Tianming saw Yi Xuanji's expression and was overjoyed in his heart. He thought that this Tang Zhang was too young and impetuous. He really dug his own grave. Tying the heavenly thunder together with him, did he feel that he was living too comfortably? Yi Tianlei also noticed his father's strange expression. He quickly coughed and said, Tang Zhang means that we cannot boost the morale of others and diminish our prestige. Tianlei, your explanation is too weak. Don't tell me that you are hell-bent on letting the Big Ye family accompany this madman to the grave? Faced with the criticism, Yi Tianlei's face turned red. Nonsense. You have no right to question Tianlei's loyalty to the Ye family. How could Feng Xinyang watch her husband be criticized? So she retorted without hesitation. Humph, you think that the martial organization is so afraid. I think you are the ones who are as cowardly as mice. Didn't Tang Zhang capture a martial organization captive? Yi Dingdang said indignantly. Martial organization captive? The others immediately grasped this key word. Many people were so scared that they almost fell off their chairs. It was as if their parents had died and their faces were ashen. This time, even Yi Xuanji could not help but grab onto the armrest of the chair. The veins on the back of his hand were exposed as he asked, What is going on? Dingdang proudly said, It is that despicable woman called Marshall. She is now Tang Zhang's captive. This made Yi Dingdang very happy. Marshall used to be insufferably arrogant, but now she has become Tang Zhang's captive. This made her feel a sense of honor. You are talking about the martial organization's sect leader's disciple Marshall? Yi Xuanji asked. Obviously, he knew more about the martial organization's internal information than the others. Yi Dingdang shook her head and looked at Tang Zhang blankly. Tang Zhang nodded. That's right. Hiss. Yi Xuanji sucked in a breath of cold air and said with a serious face, Tang Zhang, you are in big trouble this time. The others were so scared that they broke out in cold sweat. Big trouble. You captured the martial organization's sect leader's disciple. How could he let you go? Not only you, but even the Ye family will be dragged into a desperate situation by you. No, the Ye family must immediately cut ties with Tang Zhang. The others all agreed and expressed their determination to cut ties with Tang Zhang and completely cut ties with him. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang were also shocked when they heard this news. They still remembered the scene when they first met Marshall. Marshall was so domineering and awe-inspiring. She was even on par with Feng Xinyang. But even so, after hearing so many people's perverted impatience, Feng Xinyang's fiery personality was revealed again. She said without hesitation, All of you are as timid as mice. Just the mention of the martial organization makes you scared to death. Humph, I, Feng Xinyang, am not afraid. Back then, I even fought with this marshal and it was not that scary. Other than Yi Xuanji, the others did not know about this. Their faces changed. So the Ye family had already formed a grudge with the martial organization. What should they do? Feng Xinyang, don't talk nonsense. Yi Xuanji's face darkened and stopped her. Yi Tianming heaved a sigh of relief when he heard this. The situation was good. He decided to add fuel to the fire and said, "This matter concerns the survival of the Ye family. We can't be careless. I think that we should indeed cut ties with Tang Zheng. This is the most responsible way for the Ye family. In addition, someone must take responsibility for this matter and give everyone an explanation." Once this was said, everyone agreed. Tang Zheng looked on coldly and sneered in his heart. This Yi Tianming was really not a good person. First, he let the others build momentum. Then he seemed to push the boat with the current and made a conclusion. In fact, he was advancing step by step and forced Yi Tianlei into a desperate situation. Yi Tianlei's face turned red and he said firmly, "No." Yi Tianming pressed on step by step and said, "Tianlei, do you really want to drag the Ye family into an irrecoverable situation? What are your intentions?" "Nonsense, what intentions can I have?" Yi Tianlei retorted angrily. Seeing that the atmosphere was at daggers drawn, many people subconsciously shut their mouths. This was a power struggle between two brothers. Chapter 442. As soon as he said this, the whole world fell silent. Everyone looked at Tang Zheng strangely. No one expected him to say this. The Ye family was a big family. Many members of the Ye family were used to being high and mighty. They looked down on ordinary people from the bottom of their hearts. When they heard this, they reacted and shouted angrily, "What did you say?" The corner of Tang Zheng's mouth curled up. He smiled and said contemptuously, "Did I say that I know you? What do I have to do with you?" These words were like a fuse that ignited the explosives in their hearts. Many people stood up and glared at him. "Brat, this is the Ye family. It's not a place for you to behave atrociously. Today, we'll let you know the power of the Ye family." Yes, let him know the power of the Ye family. How dare he insult the Ye family? He must be tired of living. Everyone was talking at once, endlessly reprimanding Tang Zheng, but not a single person stood out to make a move. Instead, they were incessantly clamoring, their mouths flying everywhere. Yi Tianming was delighted. He thought that Tang Zheng was young and impetuous. Did he really think that he was the winner just because he had a small advantage in words? This was exactly what he wanted. They had offended everyone. Then, he could forget about climbing up the big tree that was the Ye family. Yi Tianlei would naturally lose a strong ally. He would be criticized and blamed by others. Yi Tianlei's family of three was also shocked. They looked at Tang Zheng in disbelief. However, the three of them did not have the heart to complain. Instead, they were angry at the aggressive attitude of others. However, they understood that now that Tang Zheng's relationship with the Ye family was strained, more people would insist on cutting ties with Tang Zheng. This was not good for Tang Zheng. Therefore, Yi Tianlei was about to say a few good words for Tang Zheng. However, Yi Tianming beat him to it and said, "When has our Ye family been looked down upon like this? Our Ye family can't tolerate this kind of person. Everyone, am I right?" "Yes, we can't tolerate him." The others shouted in agreement. They were quite imposing. Not only that, some people blindly cover up for this kind of person and speak for him while ignoring the interests of the family. We can't just let it go. Yi Tianming finished speaking and stared at Yi Tianlei with burning eyes. The relationship between the two brothers had already reached a point where they were at odds with each other, so there was no need for them to maintain a seemingly harmonious relationship on the surface. Yi Tianlei, of course, understood the meaning behind those words and glared at them. Yi Tianming looked down and didn't even look at him. Yi Meiyu couldn't hide her joy and glared at Yi Dingdang and Tang Zheng provocatively. At that time, Tang Zheng shone brightly. Yi Meiyu also had the idea of using a honey trap to win over Tang Zheng, so she ran to the school to find him. She couldn't help but rejoice that she didn't succeed. Otherwise, she would have suffered a big loss. Since Yi Dingdang treated Tang Zheng as a treasure, then let them be unlucky together. Yika took a deep look at Tang Zheng and was relieved. He was aware that his father's position as the head of the family might not be guaranteed, so he told his father to quickly return to the country. Now, it seems that this move was very clever. Yi Xuanji looked down at everyone and stopped for a moment on his two sons. He was very clear about the thoughts of these two sons. In fact, this competitive situation was deliberately done by him. The Ye family didn't need flowers in a greenhouse. The situation in the future would become more and more complicated. In the end, who could inherit the position of the head of the family and support the Ye family? Yi Xuanji didn't have absolute certainty. Therefore, he must be using the competitive relationship to choose the best of the two sons. Now, it seems that the competition between the two has reached a white-hot stage because of the appearance of Tang Zheng. As for the support of most people for Yi Tianming, Yi Xuanji saw it clearly. Of course, this was also a matter of course. After all, if Yi Tianming hadn't found so many supporters in the family over the years, then his ability would be too weak. Yi Xuanji would directly look down on him. Yi Tianlei was unable to restrain his anger. He stood up and said, "If you can't tolerate Tang Zheng, then you can't tolerate Yi Tianlei. Tang Zheng is my son-in-law. I naturally have to protect him to the end." Yi Tianlei's tone was very firm, which surprised many people. After all, in the face of so many people, he could still insist on his opinion. This required a huge sacrifice. Does Tang Zheng have such great charm? Is it worth Yi Tianlei to protect him at all costs? Yi Tianlei didn't think about whether it was worth it or not. The two sides had known each other for a long time. Tang Zheng was branded in Yi Tianlei's heart step by step, and his weight was getting heavier and heavier. Yi Tianlei valued and even admired Tang Zheng from the bottom of his heart. Such a rising star couldn't be buried, so he had to fight for an opportunity for him. Feng Xinyang also stood up and stood beside Yi Tianlei. This couple was exceptionally united. They didn't hesitate to go against everyone else for Tang Zheng. The couple looked at each other. Feng Xinyang pursed her lips and smiled. "How can you leave me out of this kind of thing? I want this handsome young man as my son-in-law. If others want to ruin my good fortune, they have to go through me." Feng Xinyang. Looking around, her eyes stayed on Yi Tianming for a long time. Yi Dingdang was moved. These were her parents. For her happiness, they didn't hesitate to go against the rest of the family. This required great courage and decisiveness. Tang Zheng was also very emotional. What did he do to deserve this family of three to protect him like this? At this moment, he had no reason to stand behind indifferently. Therefore, he also stood up without hesitation. He smiled at the two of them and said, "Uncle Yi, Aunt Feng, thank you. We're family. There's no need to be so polite. Don't worry, we're here." Feng Xinyang patted Tang Zheng's shoulder and said heroically. Tang Zheng nodded and faced the others, saying, "It seems that you didn't understand what I said earlier. I don't know most of you and have nothing to do with you. Therefore, your attitude is worthless to me." "Brat, you're talking nonsense," someone shouted. Tang Zheng waved his hand and said, "I haven't finished yet. Don't jump out so quickly. I only have relations with 3 people here. These 3 people." Tang Zheng pointed at Yi Dingdong's family of 3 and turned to the others. He continued, "As for you, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Therefore, you have no right to tell me what to do. You can't wait to cut off your relationship with me. In fact, I have nothing to do with you. Why should I cut off my relationship with you?" Tang Zheng's words had basically offended the other party, including Yi Xuanji. However, this was not because of Tang Zheng's impulse. He had already thought it through on the way here. His relationship with the Ye family was actually not that complicated. The link that maintained this relationship was Yi Dingdong's family of 3. As for the others, they were insignificant in Tang Zheng's eyes. He didn't care about their attitude. Yi Tianlei's expression suddenly changed. He quickly pulled Tang Zheng's clothes and whispered, "Tang Zheng, don't talk nonsense. I'll deal with it." Yi Tianming laughed in schadenfreude. He was really useless. Tianlei was destined to fail to find such a son-in-law. Yi Tianming did not give the other party a chance. He could not wait to make things difficult. He pretended to be indignant and said, "They look down on our Ye family. If we rush to claim kinship with them, won't we become a laughingstock? Our Ye family's reputation will be ruined. How can we face the ancestors of the Ye family?" Yes, Tianming is right. Many people agreed. Yi Tianlei wanted to argue, but he heard Yi Xuanji, who had been silent all this time, roar, "Enough! All of you shut up." Everyone was as silent as cicadas in the winter. Yi Xuanji looked at Tang Zheng with a complicated expression. His mood was even more complicated. Cultivators were a double-edged sword. There were many miraculous things about them. Just like how Tang Zhang had the life-continuing pill, there were also many drawbacks. That was, it would make the Ye family the target of public criticism. One gain and one loss. How to balance this was Yi Xuanji's biggest headache. However, there was no standard answer to this question. Originally, Yi Xuanji wanted to see Tang Zheng's attitude. If he sincerely pledged his allegiance to the Ye family, and revealed the many secrets and miraculous things about cultivators to the Ye family, then Yi Xuanji would be able to protect Tang Zheng. After all, the benefits were too great. However, he did not expect that Tang Zheng would not give him the chance. He directly rejected him and cut off all ties with the Ye family. He did not even hesitate to offend so many people from the Ye family. If Yi Xuanji continued to stubbornly protect Tang Zheng, the others would have a lot of opinions. This was not beneficial to the unity of the family. Compared to the possible benefits, this was too risky. The gains did not make up for the losses. In addition, the relationship between Tang Zheng and the martial sect had already reached its climax. He had even captured the martial sect's captive. This was a ticking time bomb that could explode at any time. It could also affect the Ye family. Therefore, at this time, Yi Xuanji had already made up his mind. He would completely cut off all ties with Tang Zheng. As for the relationship of fiancé and whatnot, there was no formal ceremony. It was just a verbal relationship. It was easy to cut off all ties. Seeing his father's gloomy face, Yi Tianlei panicked in his heart. He did not give up and said, "Father, Tang Zheng is young and impetuous. Our Ye family is indebted to him." Before he could finish, he was interrupted by Yi Xuanji with a wave of his hand. "Enough!" Then, he turned his gaze and stared at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng calmly dealt with it. Their eyes met, but he was still not at a disadvantage, which made Yi Xuanji extremely surprised. In fact, Yi Xuanji was only at the first level of the Grandmaster stage, which was one level lower than Long Shenyuan. How could Tang Zheng be afraid of him? Therefore, whether or not he had the help of the Ye family did not make much of a difference to him. If he allowed the other party to get involved in his own affairs, the other party would use this as an excuse to threaten him. In addition, the most important point was that Tang Zheng did not know what kind of situation he was about to encounter. Whether it was dangerous or not, he could not be so selfish as to drag Yi Dingdong's family of 3 into this, otherwise he would be too selfish. Chapter 443. Tang Zheng's good intentions could not be revealed to outsiders, so he resolutely told Yi Xuanji, "Tang Zheng, from now on, you are not allowed to take even half a step into the Ye family." Tang Zheng grinned and said, "I couldn't ask for more." He cupped his hands towards Yi Tianlei and the other two and said, "Uncle Yi, Auntie Feng, Ding Dang, I'll be leaving first." He turned around and walked out the door. Little White laid on his shoulder, not to be outdone, and bared its fangs at the others and barked twice. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang looked at each other, not knowing what to do. "Wait a minute." Yi Dingdang rushed up and grabbed Tang Zheng's hand. "Someone won't let you take even half a step into the Ye family, then I won't enter this house either, we'll leave together." Yi Dingdang did not have a sense of belonging to the Beijing Ye family, so seeing Tang Zheng being chased out of the door and facing the impending danger alone, she was quite dissatisfied. She was a person who dared to do what she wanted. Others could ignore Tang Zheng, but she couldn't. The warmth of his embrace at the airport still lingered in her heart, so she didn't hesitate to take this step. This step was very big for everyone, but Yi Dingdang did not care. If she had to choose between Tang Zheng and the Beijing Ye family, she would choose Tang Zheng without even thinking about it. Moreover, going through trials and tribulations together was something she had always dreamed of. Didn't the matchless hero and the heroine have to go through such trials and tribulations to make this relationship so precious? Therefore, Yi Dingdang had a deep romantic gene in her bones. The others were shocked by Yi Dingdong's actions. In their eyes, this was simply crazy. She was actually willing to break ties with the Ye family for an outsider. This was treason. Yi Xuanji's face instantly darkened. His gaze became extremely sharp as he coldly stared at Yi Dingdang and asked, "Dingdang, do you know what you're saying?" Due to Yi Dingdong's sudden display of talent in martial arts, Yi Xuanji had already placed Yi Dingdang as a member of the next generation that he would focus on nurturing. Now that he saw her unhesitatingly wanting to follow Tang Zheng, how could he not be angry? What Yi Xuanji cared about the most was the loyalty of others to him and to the Ye family. Why was Yi Tianlei able to return after being kicked out of the family for so many years? His loyalty to the Ye family was one of the most important criteria. Yi Dingdang raised her head and said, "Of course I know. Since I, Yi Dingdang, am Tang Zheng's fiancé, of course I have to follow him." "Nonsense, what fiancé? That's just a joke. How can you take it seriously?" Yi Xuanji retorted. Yi Dingdang pouted and snorted, saying, "To others it may be a joke, but to me Yi Dingdang, this is the golden rule. I am Tang Zheng's fiancé. No one can change that." After saying that, she tightened her grip on Tang Zheng's hand. Tang Zheng felt that her palms were already sweating. To make such a decision and say such words, it was truly commendable for her. Looking at her beautiful face that was just inches away, Tang Zheng felt warmth in his heart. He thought to himself, what did I do to make her so infatuated that she would pay such a huge price? His relationship with Yi Dingdang was not something that could be explained in one sentence. No one knew when the relationship between the two had undergone a qualitative change. All of this happened naturally. It seemed abrupt, but it was also logical. Being contradicted by Yi Dingdang like this, Yi Xuanji was so angry that smoke almost came out of his 7 orifices. The veins on the back of his hand that was grabbing onto the chair's armrest were bulging. Yi Tianlei knew his father's temper very well. His face turned pale as he hurriedly explained, "Father, Dingdang is young and doesn't know any better. Don't lower yourself to her level." Although he could stand firmly on Tang Zheng's side, he would not be like Yi Dingdang and leave the Ye family. He had a strong sense of belonging to the Ye family. Otherwise, he would not be so obsessed with returning to the Ye family after so many years. Yi Xuanji unhappily said, "Tianlei, look at how you educate your daughter." "You don't need to tell me how my dad educated me," Yi Dingdang retorted. She had never been in awe of Yi Xuanji's authority, and back then when she was in the ordinary balance, she dared to go against him. Now, for the sake of Tang Zheng, she did not have the slightest bit of hesitation or fear. The others were dumbstruck as they looked at Yi Dingdang. The majority of the people did not know much about Yi Dingdang. Seeing him directly contradict the head of the family, their mouths were about to be stuffed with a large egg. Ever since Yi Dingdang came to the capital, she had been completely defeated. In front of Yi Xuanji, she was like a mouse that had seen a cat, and was about to hide. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that Yi Xuanji was more satisfied with Yi Dingdang than with Yi Meiyu. Yi Meiyu was just worried that she wouldn't have a chance to counter the other party, but now that she had bumped into the muzzle of the gun, how could she let it go? Thus, Yi Meiyu immediately reprimanded him righteously. "Yi Dingdang, what are you saying? You are a member of the Ye family. How can you abandon the Ye family for an outsider? You are truly too disappointing. This kind of disloyal, unfilial and unfilial person is simply the shame of the Ye family." Tang Zheng immediately frowned. These people were getting more and more out of hand. He immediately stood up and stood in front of Yi Dingdang to protect her, saying, "Dingdong's matters are not for you to interfere, scram to the side." Yi Dingdong's eyes were brimming with joy. Such harsh words were definitely domineering, causing Yi Meiyu's fair face to immediately turn red with anger. "How can the Ye family allow you to speak rudely?" Yi Tianming suddenly shouted and jumped up from his chair, attacking Tang Zheng at lightning speed, slapping him hard on the cheek. If this slap hit, Tang Zheng's teeth would probably be knocked out. It would definitely be very embarrassing. The others did not expect Yi Tianming to suddenly attack, but it was too late for them to help. Yi Tianlei only had time to shout, "Stop!" But Yi Tianming had already arrived in front of Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng did not move. He did not even let go of Yi Dingdong's hand. His eyes gradually turned cold, and the other party's palm quickly became bigger in his eyes. Boom! A flame erupted from Tang Zheng's shoulder and flew directly towards Yi Tianming, the blazing temperature instantly disappearing from the cold winter in the hall. Yi Tianming suddenly saw a flash of fire in front of him, and a heat wave rushed towards him. He quickly rolled back in the air, trying to avoid the flame attack. However, he was too close to Tang Zheng. Although he avoided most of the flames, his eyebrows were burned by the flames. After a burning smell, his eyebrows disappeared. He landed awkwardly and immediately felt a burning pain in his eyebrows. He wiped it with his hand, and it was bald. He was ashamed and angry, but he did not dare to rush forward again. Instead, He stared at the culprit in horror and said, "Monster?" The culprit, Xiaobai, grinned. It was extremely cute and harmless. However, after seeing the power of the flames it spat out, no one dared to think that it was harmless. This little guy was too scary. Tang Zheng patted Xiaobai's head and praised, "Good job." Since Tang Zheng's identity had been exposed, there was no need to hide Xiaobai's identity. This time, he could use Yi Tianming to practice. He caught Yi Tianming off guard and made him embarrassed. Yi Tianming had been pampered since childhood and had never been played and embarrassed like this. He was almost fuming with anger and immediately shouted, "Surround him. He is not allowed to walk out of the Ye family today." A few people immediately rushed out from the crowd and blocked the door of the hall. Yi Tianlei immediately shouted, "What are you doing?" "What are we doing?" "Humph, Tianlei, you invited the wolf into the house. You can't escape the blame this time." Yi Tianming spoke with conviction. He turned to look at Yi Xuanji and said, "Father, we can't let Tang Jing leave. He is a huge hidden danger. If we don't get rid of him today, he will destroy the Ye family in the future." "Big brother, don't be an alarmist. You are slandering me," Yi Tianlei retorted. "I'm slandering you? You can ask the others if what I said makes sense. If we don't get rid of him today, are we going to wait until he kills the Ye family in the future? Moreover, the Wu Zong will be very happy to get rid of him. The Yan family has the support of the Li Palace. If the Ye family gets the support of the Wu Zong, we will be able to suppress the other families and compete with the Yan family. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Yi Tianming's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Tang Zheng's eyes were cold. This Yi Tianming was really not easy to deal with. He was insidious enough. He wanted to use him as a bargaining chip to claim credit for the Wu Zong, so as to exchange benefits for the Ye family. However, if Yi Tianming knew that the master of the Wu Zong did not hesitate to use Wu Zong's innocence to save Tang Zheng, he would not be so confident. The atmosphere changed in an instant. Feng Xinyang did not hesitate to stand in front of Tang Zheng and said, "If you want to touch my son-in-law, you have to ask me first." Yi Tianlei was in a dilemma. He looked around and was at a loss. He could only persuade earnestly, "Everyone, if you have something to say, don't hurt the harmony. Tang Zheng is a guest from afar. Is this how our Ye family treats guests?" "Haha, guest. We don't admit it." Yi Tianming pressed on step by step. In the end, even Yi Ke stood up and stood on the same line as Yi Tianming. They were the father and son soldiers. There were many innate masters in this room, especially those few old men. They were the few remaining innate masters of the Ye family. They were the mainstay of the Ye family, except for Yi Xuanji. Yi Tianlei did not think that Tang Zheng would be a match for so many people. Even if they joined forces, they would not be a match. Yi Tianlei regretted it. If he had known earlier, he would not have brought Tang Zheng to the Ye family. Otherwise, he would not have fallen into such a desperate situation. Yi Tianlei was not reconciled. He looked at Yi Xuanji, who was still sitting calmly, and said, "Father, we can't let these people do whatever they want. This will ruin the reputation of our Ye family. Moreover, Tang Zheng has no enmity with our Ye family. Doing this is against morality." Yi Xuanji's face was uncertain. He weighed the pros and cons. Yi Tianming's suggestion was indeed a good idea. Chapter 444. Tang Zheng was very smart. Seeing that Yi Xuanji was silent, he laughed and said, "Haha, interesting. I know what you guys are thinking. You want to get rid of me, right? Then go ahead. Let's see if you have the ability to do so." Tang Zheng walked past Yi Tianlei and stood up, looking around, the corner of his mouth slightly raised, full of disdain. Yi Xuanji remained silent. He had yet to make his final decision, but Yi Tianming could not wait any longer. He was prepared to make the first move to gain the upper hand. What's done cannot be undone, so he shouted and attacked Tang Zheng once again. This time, he was very alert and was especially vigilant against Xiaobai. Xiaobai grinned and was about to spit fire again. However, Tang Zheng stopped him and said, "Xiaobai, you don't have to do anything. Let me test him." Little White nodded, jumped down from his shoulder, and stood by the side to provide support. Tang Zhang walked towards Yi Tianming as if he was taking a stroll in the park. Yi Tianming was overjoyed when he saw this. He was very afraid of Xiao Bai. Since Xiao Bai was not going to help him, he was very confident that he could deal with Tang Zheng. A huge fist went straight for Tang Zheng's head. Tang Zheng did not hesitate and lightly pointed his finger. Poof! The air vibrated and a sharp sword energy rippled out. Yi Tianming's punch missed, and Tang Zheng's finger was already pointing at his chest. That finger was like a sharp sword that could cut through his hair. Yi Tianming finally sensed the danger. When the finger pierced his chest, he quickly retreated with the tip of his foot. Poof! A stream of blood gushed out from his chest. He was injured. Ah! The others exclaimed. This was too unbelievable. Yi Tianming was the second strongest person in the Ye family. He was a 5th grade innate stage expert. How could he be injured in one move? This scene seemed unreal no matter how they looked at it. But it really happened. Swish, swish, swish. Almost instantly, everyone's eyes were focused on Tang Zheng. Everyone suddenly realized why his aura was so strong. It turned out that he was hiding his strength. Yi Tianming covered his chest. Fortunately, he retreated in time. The wound was not deep. Otherwise, his heart might have been pierced by this finger. His face had turned pale. He stared at Tang Zheng in disbelief and said, "How can you be so powerful?" Tang Zheng smiled but did not speak. He could see the opponent's strength from this move. Therefore, he was not afraid of him and said, "Don't you want to fight? Then let's continue. You are dilly-dallying. Are you afraid?" As soon as he finished speaking, he took the initiative to launch an attack. Yi Tianming's body was covered by Tang Zheng's finger shadows from top to bottom. Yi Tianming could only respond in a hurry. People with discerning eyes immediately saw the clues. Tang Zheng's attack was very sharp. Yi Tianming was forced to receive the attack. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang looked at each other. They already knew that Tang Zheng's cultivation was equivalent to a 5th grade innate stage expert. But now that they saw it with their own eyes, they understood how powerful this realm was. They also knew that Yi Tianming was a 5th grade innate stage expert. However, when these two 5th grade innate stage experts were compared, the difference was obvious. The others were shocked. Yi Ku and Yi Meiyu's throats were a little dry. Yi Tianming had a very high position in their hearts, but he was forced into such a situation. Yi Xuanji's expression fluctuated as he was unable to express his shock. He was very clear on what level Tang Zheng was at in the past. In just a few short months, he was actually able to suppress his precious son that he had raised for decades. The gap was too big. Could it be that cultivators were really so invincible? He no longer dared to waver and weigh the pros and cons. He shouted, "Stop!" He stood up from the chair and struck out with his palm. The sound of wind and thunder was loud. He passed Yi Tianming and struck towards Tang Zheng first. Bang! Tang Zheng's finger touched the other party's palm. He couldn't help but take a few steps back. His blood and qi were surging. He took a few deep breaths and calmed down. After all, Yi Xuanji was a 1st grade innate stage expert, and Tang Zheng was a 5th grade innate stage expert. Without a treasure, he was still not Yi Xuanji's opponent in a one-on-one fight. "Tang Zheng, you can leave. I won't keep you here. We have nothing to do with each other in the future," Yi Xuanji said in a deep voice. He had already made a decision. Tang Zheng had such a cultivation at such a young age. His future achievements were limitless. However, the dangers that cultivators faced were also immeasurable. Yi Xuanji didn't dare to tie the Ye family and Tang Zheng together. He also didn't dare to really get rid of Tang Zheng, so the only choice was to sever ties with him. Tang Zheng guessed the other party's thoughts. He sneered and turned around to leave. Xiao Bai jumped on his shoulder again. "Tang Zheng, I'll go with you," Yi Dingdang said without hesitation. "Dingdang, stop. He can go, but you are a member of the Ye family. You are not allowed to walk out of this door." Yi Xuanji stopped her. "I want to go." Yi Dingdang unhesitatingly held onto Tang Zheng's hand as she pouted her lips. Yi Xuanji's expression became more and more ugly. He couldn't accept that he couldn't control his granddaughter. Seeing that he was about to flip out, Yi Tianlei had an idea. He quickly protected Yi Dingdang and advised, "Dingdang, listen to Grandpa. Let Tang Zheng leave here first. It was impossible for Yi Tianlei to be like Yi Dingdang and step out of the house without any hesitation. It was not easy for him to return to the Yi clan, so how could he let all his hard work go to waste? However, he couldn't let anything happen to Tang Zhang and his daughter. So, appeasing Yi Xuanji's anger was the most appropriate thing to do. I won't. Since this family doesn't welcome Tang Zhang, then there's no need for me to stay. Yi Dingdang didn't compromise. Yi Tianlei revealed an awkward expression and said, Dingdang, don't let your emotions affect your decisions. This matter needs to be discussed at length. Don't worry, your mother and I support you and Tang Zhang being together. But you have to pay attention to the way you do it. Feng Xinyang looked deeply at her husband. Of course, she understood her husband's good intentions. Although she had a fiery personality, she wasn't a brainless person. Since Tang Zhang could leave safely, then they shouldn't continue to fight. It wouldn't be good for anyone. Dingdang, listen to your father. How can I just watch such a good son-in-law fly away? Don't worry, we'll take care of everything. Let Tang Zhang leave first. Feng Xinyang persuaded. Yi Dingdang bit her lips and remained unmoved. Tang Zhang patted the back of Tang Zhang's hand and said, I'll go first. We'll talk about it later. He also understood the situation at the moment. If Yi Dingdang insisted on doing things her own way, it would put her parents in a bad situation. Yi Tianming would definitely be happy to see it happen. He wouldn't do things that would hurt his relatives and make his enemies happy. Seeing that Tang Zhang had spoken, Yi Dingdang looked at her parents' eager eyes. She finally lowered her head and said, Then. Okay, I'll go to school to find you tomorrow. After Tang Zhang left, the hall boiled up from the silence. It was like a market. Many people seemed to wake up from a dream and blamed Yi Tianlei's family of 3. Yi Tianming had a cold smile on his face. Just now, he didn't defeat Tang Zhang. Instead, he was forced to retreat step by step, which greatly damaged his image. He had to get back at Yi Tianming. Yi Tianming became more vigilant towards his brother who had been separated from him for more than 10 years. This strong competitor for the position of the head of the family must be kicked out as soon as possible. Otherwise, there would be endless troubles. Yi Xuanji watched Tang Zhang's figure disappear from his sight from afar. Then, he retracted his gaze and glanced at the crowd. He said, Shut up. Don't you think it's embarrassing enough? Everyone immediately kept quiet and looked at Yi Xuanji timidly. Yi Xuanji said, No one is allowed to spread what happened today. In addition, announce to the outside world that the Ye family and Tang Zhang have nothing to do with each other anymore. Everyone nodded in agreement. Father, Tianlei didn't care about the safety of the Ye family in this matter. This kind of reckless approach will harm everyone. This kind of thing should be stopped. Yi Tianming said sternly. This matter ends here. No one is allowed to mention it again. Yi Xuanji didn't support Yi Tianming. Instead, he gave the order resolutely. Yi Tianming swallowed back the words in his stomach and nodded resentfully. The crowd dispersed. Yi Tianlei and his family returned to the house. Yi Dingdang immediately complained, They are burning the bridge after crossing the river. When they needed Tang Zhang, they tried their best to rope him in. Now that they found out that Tang Zhang is a cultivator, they cut off all ties with him. This kind of approach is too disgusting. Shoo, Dingdang, lower your voice. The walls have ears. Yi Tianlei persuaded. Yi Dingdang was unmoved. She said, So what if they heard? What am I afraid of? If you didn't stop me just now, I would have left directly. Dingdang, do you think it's that easy? Do you think the old man will let you leave the Ye family in front of so many people? If that's the case, the Ye family will lose face. The old man will definitely fight with Tang Zhang. At that time, the one who will suffer will be Tang Zhang. Feng Xinyang said earnestly. They didn't know that Tang Zhang was able to escape unscathed from Long Shenyuan. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so worried. Yi Dingdong's eyes lit up. She suddenly understood. You mean to say that we should let Tang Zhang leave first and ensure his safety before we leave? Hee, it won't be that easy to leave. The Ye family is not a place where people can come and go as they please. Feng Xinyang said. Yi Dingdang revealed a disappointed expression and muttered, It's not like I wanted to come. Yi Tianlei said awkwardly, Dingdang, I know that you have been wronged, but this is your home after all, you can't just throw a tantrum and leave like that. Your mother and I will fully support you and Tang Zheng, but you should also understand our difficulties. Yi Dingdang lowered her head and said, all right, as for cutting Tang Zheng in two, that is someone else. I will not abide by such a decision. Yi Dingdang had finally taken a step forward in her relationship with Tang Zheng, so how could she give up halfway? Feng Xinyang smiled and patted her head, saying, silly girl, of course we know what you're thinking. On the other side, Yi Tianming was flustered and exasperated as he broke a teacup, and growled, this Tang Jing definitely cannot stay in this world, he will become our stumbling block. Yi Ku and Yi Meiyu nodded. Dad, then what should we do now? Humph. Didn't he boast shamelessly that he had captured a martial sex captive? If this news gets out, there will definitely be people interested in him, especially the people from the martial sect. Humph. Let's see how he deals with it. Yi Tianming sneered. Chapter 445. After leaving the Ye family, Tang Zheng also took Nana with him. The little girl held onto Tang Zheng's hand and snickered as she chattered on and on. Just now, she did not enter the hall, so she did not know what happened in the hall. She was just happy that she could be with Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng did not take the Ye family's attitude to heart. After all, the Ye family did not pose much of a threat to him. After eating dinner with Nana outside, the sky darkened. The winter in Beijing was bitterly cold. The little girl's face was red from the cold, but she still had a smile on her face. Nana, your mother is not by your side. Do you miss her? Tang Jing asked. Nana nodded her head. Yes, but now that Big Brother is with me, Nana is very happy. Then where are we going to stay tonight? Wherever Big Brother goes, I will go. Nana said. Okay, Big Brother will take you to see an older sister tonight. Tang Zheng's heart moved as he prepared to take Nana to see Lu Qingmei. After being separated for so long, he did not know how she was doing. Okay, I guess it must be a beautiful older sister. Nana rolled her eyes and said mischievously. How do you know it's a beautiful older sister? Tang Zheng asked curiously. Big Brother is so handsome. There must be a beautiful older sister by your side. This is what Mom said. Birds of a feather flock together. Nana said seriously. Tang Zheng could not help but laugh. He pinched her pink cheeks and said, haha, Nana is the smartest. Nana pursed her lips and was not modest at all. Everyone says so. Tang Zheng dialed Lu Qingmei's number. The other party's voice was a little noisy, but when she heard Tang Zheng's voice, she was obviously very happy. She said that she was playing outside and asked him to go directly to her. Tang Zheng stopped a taxi and went straight to their destination, which was a bar. Tang Zheng frowned and looked at Nana saying, Nana, why don't we wait outside? This was not a place for children. Tang Zheng did not want to lead a child astray. Nana looked at the brightly lit bar and the men and women going in and out. She shook her head and said, this is a bar. I heard that there are many beautiful sisters inside. Let's go in and take a look. There's nothing to see here. Tang Zheng smiled bitterly. That's not true. In the past when I was in Chongheng City, there were many rich young masters who went to the bar to play. I heard them mention it before, but I haven't been there yet, so I want to take a look. Nan said in all seriousness. The little girl seemed to be filled with curiosity towards everything. Looking at her hopeful eyes, Tang Zheng softened. He said in his heart that with him protecting her, no one could hurt her. So he agreed. Okay, I'll hold you. Don't move. Nana excitedly nodded. Nana is the most obedient. Tang Zheng carried Nan into the bar. The waiter glanced at them but did not stop them. It had not been long since the sky turned dark and the bar was not at its busiest yet. Even though the music was a bit noisy, it was not unbearable. Nanan's eyes were wide open as she turned her little head and kept looking around. She was really like a curious baby. At this moment, there were not many customers. Many seats were still empty. But there were also many customers. Many people shuttled back and forth, exchanging drinks. Tang Zheng glanced around and saw several people sitting in a booth. Lu Qingmei was one of them. She carried Nana with Xiao Bai on her shoulder and walked towards the booth. The atmosphere in the booth was not bad. Several people were drinking with each other. Lu Qingmei calmly sat in the corner with a wine glass in front of her. Qingmei! Tang Zheng called out. Lu Qingmei suddenly raised her head. Her face blossomed with joy as she said, "You came." When the others saw this, they curiously put down their wine glasses. They looked at Lu Qingmei's expression and Tang Zheng's sudden appearance. Qingmei, who is this handsome guy? You're so happy just because he came? He can't be your boyfriend, right? Seeing Lu Qingmei's face blossoming with a smile, one person could not help but ask. Hello everyone, my name is Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng politely introduced himself. He still did not know who these people were. Oh, this handsome guy is very young. Could he really be Qingmei's boyfriend? Someone asked. Lu Qingmei's face revealed a trace of embarrassment. Tang Zheng faintly smiled and naturally said, "Yes." "Wah, Qingmei, you're too much. You actually have a boyfriend. You're taken. I don't know how many boys' hearts are about to break." Someone loudly said in an exaggerated manner. "Yeah, look at their faces. AI, it really is a beauty that attracts people. Qingmei hasn't been in our company for long and she's already been targeted by you guys." Several boys bitterly smiled, but no one answered. Instead, they stared at Tang Zheng. Although Tang Zheng's appearance was slightly immature, his aura was calm and not frivolous. This made people not dare to underestimate him. Tang Zheng suddenly realized that these people were Lu Qingmei's colleagues. When he went to Dianan, she was still looking for a job. It seemed that she had found one now. This must be a department party. They were all young people, so they came to the bar. However, with Lu Qingmei's cold personality, the atmosphere of the bar may not be suitable for her. This could be seen from her sitting alone in the corner. Since Tang Zheng generously admitted it, although Lu Qingmei was a little shy, she did not refute. She faintly smiled and said, "Then you guys have fun. I'll go first." "Wow, how can you be in a hurry to leave? Since you're here, sit down and have a few drinks. We're all young people. Let's make friends." A young man in a trench coat stood up and said. Lu Qingmei hesitated and looked at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng slightly smiled. Since these people were her colleagues, they would be together day and night in the future. There was no need to make the relationship stiff. So he pushed the boat with the current and said, "Well, let's sit down and have a few drinks." "Hey, who is this little sister? Qingmei, is she your daughter?" Someone asked. Lu Qingmei made a big red face and said, "No, how can I have a daughter?" Tang Zheng remained calm and collected. He glanced at the audience. There were 5 women and 5 men, but the quality of the 5 women was uneven. Moreover, there was obvious jealousy in the words of several women. Because Lu Qingmei was much more beautiful than them. A company suddenly had such a beautiful new colleague. Naturally they did not like it. Nana heard this, raised her pink face and said, "Sister Qingmei is the most beautiful here. I would also like to be her daughter." Children's words carried no harm. Nana only spoke her truest thoughts. But in an instant, the other women's faces did not look good. They coldly said, "This really is a superficial society. Not only men, but even children are so snobbish. I really don't know how her parents taught her." "Yeah, watching her grow up. What will happen when this kind of brat grows up?" Someone agreed. The several women had clearly formed an alliance and were united against a common enemy. Nana did not know what to do. She felt wronged and said, "I'm not a brat. Mommy said to be a good baby. Nana is a good baby." The little girl pouted. She felt so wronged that her eyes turned red. Lu Qingmei's face became even colder. She said, "She's still a child. As adults, is it appropriate for you to say this?" "Che, she praised you. Of course you're happy. Maybe you purposely told her to say this behind our backs to make us lose face. We're not as beautiful as you, but there's no need to humiliate people like this." "I didn't call her," Lu Qingmei denied. "Who knows? Anyway, we can't see," the few people said. Seeing this, the man in the trench coat quickly tried to smooth things over. He advised, "Everyone calm down. We're all colleagues in the same company. We'll see each other often. Everyone should be united and friendly." A woman smiled charmingly and said, "President Chen, we're not stirring up trouble. Everyone knows that colleagues should help each other. That's why we organized this gathering. Who would have thought that Lu Qingmei would call a child to say such hurtful words? I already said that I didn't teach her to say this. Lu Qingmei corrected her again. If you didn't teach her, then it must be your little boyfriend who taught her. The other party did not give up. Lu Qingmei's face was as cold as ice. Tang Zheng grabbed her hand and signaled with his eyes that she did not need to be angry. He said, "The child said a big truth, and you're about to jump up like this. It seems that she really poked at your sore spot." "What did you say?" The several women immediately stood up. They were like tigresses that were about to flip out. Tang Zheng faintly smiled. "Did I say anything wrong? You guys really aren't as pretty as Qingmei. Can't people say that? Could it be that you guys think that she's easy to bully? That's where you're wrong. I hate it when people bully my girlfriend." The atmosphere suddenly became heavy. The several women were so angry that their faces turned red. They disdainfully said, "Brat, who do you think you are? You dare to boast so shamelessly? I don't think I'm anyone, but you're even less so. Don't be so shameless. We're all colleagues. Is there a need for you guys to gang up on Qingmei like this? Our business is none of your business. Our President Chen didn't even say anything. Since when did a brat like you have the right to say such things?" The several women were aggressive. The man in the trench coat, President Chen, looked deeply at Tang Zheng and advised, "Everyone, don't say too much. We came out to play for fun. Why get angry? Come, everyone, let's toast and forget about our enmity with a smile." "Who does he think he is? He and I can forget about our enmity with a smile. He's not worthy," one of the tall women disdainfully said. Just now it was this tall woman who spoke. It was clear that she was the core of these women. In fact, she was not bad-looking. She could be considered a common beauty. She used to be the flower of the office, but ever since Lu Qingmei entered the company, her edge had been completely suppressed. Her light became dimmer and dimmer. That was why she organized this gathering. She hoped that she could take advantage of the large number of people to humiliate Lu Qingmei and attack the other party. Chapter 446. When Tang Zheng heard this, his face wasn't as cold as ice. Instead, he laughed mockingly. His opponent was too weak and he had no interest in being entangled with her. However, he couldn't ignore her. This kind of woman needed to be taught a lesson. The weaker you were, the more energetic she would be. In the future, it would be harder for Lu Qingmei to survive in the company. "Tang Zheng, let's go. Ignore her." Lu Qingmei frowned and said unhappily, "Hey, why are you in such a hurry to leave? If you can't win in an argument, are you still a man?" The tall woman clamored as if she had taken stimulants. Tang Zheng patted the back of Lu Qingmei's hand, indicating for her to calm down. "Wait a moment. If this matter isn't resolved, no one can be at ease." Lu Qingmei knew his strength and advised, "There's no need to lower yourself to her level." The tall woman immediately jumped up when she heard this, thinking that the other party was looking down on her. She angrily said, "Who do you think you are? Why don't you lower yourself to my level? Today, I'll show you my power." Just as she finished speaking, a few burly fellows walked over and roared, "Yao Yao, who made you angry?" The tall woman beamed with joy when she heard this. She pointed at Tang Zheng and shrieked, "Brother Meng, it's this brat. He actually looks down on me." "Oh, there are still people who look down on my Yao Yao in my territory. Hee hee, you must be tired of living." While they were talking, a few strong men had already surrounded the entrance to the booth and were eyeing them like tigers eyeing their prey. The people in the booth were frightened and looked at them in alarm. Chief Chen smiled and said, "Everyone, this is just a joke. Please don't mind it." The tall woman said arrogantly, "Brother Meng, this is our company's Chief Chen. He's my boss." Brother Meng had a shaved head like a 100-watt light bulb. His face was fierce and there were tattoos on his neck. Brother Meng nodded at Chief Chen and said with a fake smile, "Chief Chen, Yao Yao is working under you, so you have to take care of her. If anyone dares to bully her and make her unhappy, then I will also make that person unhappy. Do you understand?" Director Chen smiled awkwardly and hurriedly nodded in agreement. In an instant, many people in the booth looked at the tall woman in horror. Some even smiled at her. Many people were glad that they didn't offend her. It turned out that she had a background in the underworld. The tall woman raised her nose to the sky and said arrogantly, "President Chen is usually very good to me. It's just that some people are blind." As he spoke, he deliberately glanced at Lu Qingmei, not concealing the smugness in his eyes. Meng Ren's face darkened as he asked, "Which idiot is it? I'll teach him a lesson." His gaze turned and immediately locked onto Tang Zheng and Lu Qingmei. Especially when he saw Lu Qingmei, his eyes flashed with intense lust. Hee, there's still a beauty here. Could it be that this beauty made Yao Yao unhappy? Meng Ren licked his lips and said with a fake smile, "Brother Meng, this beauty is already taken. Look at the little brat beside her. He's her boyfriend." The tall woman curled her lips and said. Brother Meng laughed strangely, "Beauty, this little brat's hair isn't even fully grown yet. What's so good about him? A mature man like Brother Meng is more interesting. Try it once and I guarantee that you'll have an endless aftertaste." Hearing these unbearable words, Lu Qingmei's cheeks flushed red. She said fiercely, "Please show some respect." Brother Meng shook his head and smiled mischievously, "I'm very respectful." Slap. Without any warning, Lu Qingmei raised her hand and slapped Brother Meng's face. The slap was incomparably loud and clear. It was like a clap of thunder in everyone's ears. Everyone was stunned and looked at Lu Qingmei in disbelief. No one had expected that she would make a move. Lu Qingmei was really too angry. If this could be tolerated, what else could be tolerated? F***CK. Stinking woman. You dare hit me? I'm going to deal with you today. Brother Meng reacted. His face was burning with pain and his face was flushed red. He raised his hand and wanted to grab Lu Qingmei. However, another hand suddenly blocked in front of him. It was as if he had hit a hard rock, and he staggered back. What was going on? Before he could react, he saw Tang Zheng standing in front of Lu Qingmei. He only saw Tang Zheng winking at Lu Qingmei and praising, "Good hit." Lu Qingmei embarrassedly said, "It's all because his words were too unpleasant. That's why I hit him in anger." At this moment, her shyness and her valiance formed a strong contrast, but it made people even more excited. A beauty with a personality was more likable than a beauty with a soft and delicate appearance. The eyes of the several men present lit up as they stared at Lu Qingmei. This kind of person is asking for a beating. Tang Zheng lightly said. His words were so shocking that the others subconsciously wrinkled their brows. They thought that they were in big trouble this time. Brother Meng seemed to have awoken from a dream as he angrily roared, F***CK, brat, today I'll take care of you as well. Your girl is mine. Go. The several strong men were like tanks as they rushed towards Tang Zheng. These people were the people in charge of the bar. They had a few tricks up their sleeves. It was easy for them to deal with ordinary people. The other people's faces instantly turned pale. A few timid people hid in the corner. That chieftain also subconsciously shrank back. He did not dare to stand up and speak up. Lu Qingmei did not move at all. It was as if she did not see the other side rushing over. Nana continuously waved her arms and shouted, "Big brother, hit the bad guy, hit the bad guy." Tang Zheng rubbed her little head and said, "Then Nana, close your eyes." Nana shook her head. "No way, I want to see Big Brother hit the bad guy. Big Brother is a hero." "Alright then, watch carefully." Tang Zheng's movements were very slow. It was as if he really wanted her to see clearly. He gently punched out as if it was in slow motion. However, the opponent had no way to dodge. She felt a pain in her ear. Her body flew out of the booth and smashed into a table outside. Following the same pattern, the other people also flew out like cannonballs, causing screams to ring out in the bar hall. The few people who originally thought that Tang Zheng would be beaten to the point of lying on the ground begging for mercy revealed an expression of disbelief. What was going on? Why was the one who flew out the courage, while Tang Zheng was safe and sound? Brother Meng was a person with good eyesight. His pupils suddenly shrank. He secretly cursed and quickly retreated. He shouted, "Brat, don't go. Brother Meng will deal with you later." But before he could take 2 steps, he found that his body could not move. He shouted as if he had seen a ghost. "What did you do to me? Let me go." This was because Tang Zheng had used the body locking technique. For such a small character, it was impossible to arouse his interest in making a big fuss. The others saw that Brother Meng kept shouting but his body could not move. Each and every one of their expressions was very strange. It was as if they had seen a ghost. However, they did not dare to move. They only stared at Tang Zheng. "Nana, you see, this big bad guy can't move. What do you think we should do?" Tang Zheng calmly asked. Nana pinched her small chin and thought for a moment. Then she said, "Beat him." "Haha, good. Beat him. Nana, come. You punch him." Tang Zheng said earnestly. "Can I really hit him?" The little girl was restless. "Of course. Nana is very powerful. If you don't believe me, you can try." Tang Zheng grabbed Nana's small hand and punched Brother Meng's chest. Bang! It was as if Brother Meng was hit by a heavy hammer. He cried out miserably and flew out. He only stopped after hitting 7 or 8 tables. Nana looked at her small fist in disbelief. She cheered and said, "Wow, Nana is so powerful. Nana is so happy." Tang Zheng revealed a kind smile and said, "Nana will be even more powerful in the future." This time, one of the main tasks of returning to the capital was to teach Nana the ways of cultivation. This was something that Mu Hongyan had asked him to do before. He had never carried it out. Now was the right time. Using this matter to let Nana have a direct impression of power. The little girl was clearly very excited about power. Her small eyes were shining. Being born in a large family like the Long family, she was influenced by what she saw and heard. Thus, teaching her the ways of cultivation was a natural thing. This punch was of course not the ability of her small fist. It was Tang Zheng's strength that sent the other party flying. But the others did not understand. They all opened their eyes wide and looked at Nana in shock. This was completely beyond their imagination. Tang Zheng turned around and looked at the tall girl. The tall girl was so scared that her whole body trembled. She quickly hid in the booth and said timidly, "You, what do you want to do? I'm telling you, don't act recklessly. I'm a woman. What kind of man is hitting a woman? I've never been gentle to bad women." Tang Zheng smiled as he walked over and grabbed the tall girl's hair. "Ah! Let go of me, let go of me." The tall girl turned pale with fright and screamed. She kept struggling but to no avail. When the others saw this, no one dared to stop him. That Chief Chin even took the opportunity to hide behind the others. Just now, he looked down on Tang Zheng. But now, he no longer had the courage to stand up for him. "Since you keep calling him Brother Meng so affectionately, then you should go accompany him." Tang Zheng casually threw the tall woman out, and she also flew out. Brother Meng struggled on the ground for a long time before finally getting up. But then he saw a person flying over and fiercely smashing into him. He could not help but scream and lay on the ground again. The tall girl turned pale with fright and screamed. Her hair was disheveled, but Tang Zheng was merciful and did not hurt her. Tang Zheng stared at the others and said, "Qing Mei is my girlfriend. I'm very protective of her. If someone dares to deliberately make things difficult for my girlfriend, I will be very angry. I guarantee that he will regret it." "I wouldn't dare, I wouldn't dare. Lu Qing Mei works hard and is the focus of the company's training." That Chief Chin originally had some thoughts about Lu Qing Mei, but at this moment, he didn't have the slightest bit of thought. Although he had some power in the company, he obviously didn't have any confidence in front of Tang Zheng. "Very good." Tang Zheng nodded approvingly. He pulled Qing Mei and said, "Qing Mei, let's go home." Lu Qing Mei seemed to wake up from a dream. She walked out of the booth with a sweet smile on her face and walked towards the door. Chapter 447. When this roar sounded, everyone subconsciously stopped what they were doing and looked towards the door. They saw 20 or so fierce people rushing in, and the person in the lead had a scar that ran from the left side of his face to the right. It was especially ferocious and terrifying. "Brother Scar is here. This kid is going to suffer a big loss. Yeah. He dares to cause trouble in Brother Scar's place. He must have eaten a leopard's guts." Some people whispered, but no one walked away. Instead, they opened their eyes wide and prepared to watch a good show. The several colleagues in the booth also seemed to have suddenly drunk stimulants. They came back to their senses and leaned over the booth to watch attentively. Brother Scar, you finally came. This kid came to cause trouble. Brother Meng pushed the almost scared out of her wits to the side. He climbed up and fiercely shouted. Scarface's eyes were small but very bright, like the eyes of an eagle. He stared at Tang Zheng and coldly said, Kid, you really have guts. You actually dare to cause trouble in my place. Who sent you? Tang Zheng acted as if there was no one around and held Lu Qingmei's hand as they walked towards the door. He said, No one has the qualifications to send me. Oh, you're quite tight-lipped. Did Blackie send you here? Scarface questioned. I don't know any hazy. A good dog doesn't block the way. Get out of the way. Tang Zheng expressionlessly said. You dare to call me a dog. Brother Scar will cut you today. Scarface flew up and directly swept towards Tang Zheng's head. This kick was fast and ruthless. It was the essence of leg techniques. Moreover, it was Scarface's tried and tested killing move. Seeing that the leg was about to hit Tang Zheng also flew up and kicked. Fast as thunder, the momentum was like a swan. It directly hit Scarface's leg. Bang! Scarface flew out and just happened to crash into the booth where Chief Chen and the others were sitting. The group of people were shocked and screamed. Deal with him! When the other henchmen saw this, they clamored and pulled out the machetes they always carried with them, and started to attack Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng's eyes turned cold as he used one hand to cover Nanan's eyes while the other hand smoothly snatched a machete. Shwa shwa shwa, the machete's afterimages flew out as a cold light flashed. Pitiful cries rose and fell one after another. Not long after, more than 20 people fell into a pool of blood, groaning and screaming. The others retreated, looking at Tang Zheng as if they had seen a ghost. Seeing Tang Zheng's gaze sweep over, many people subconsciously lowered their heads, not daring to look at Tang Zheng. When Brother Meng saw Tang Zheng looking over, his throat went dry. He was so scared that his legs went soft and he lay on the ground again. He didn't dare to say another word. Let's go! Tang Zheng and the others swaggered out of the bar under the watchful eyes of the crowd. No one dared to stop them. Tang Zheng let go of his hand. Nana pouted and said, Brother, did you just beat up those bad guys? Of course. Tang Zheng grinned. Wow, that's great. Brother, I want to be as powerful as you when I grow up. Nana waved her small fist and said eagerly. Oh, then how about I teach you? Tang Zheng took the opportunity to say. Nana hurriedly nodded. Okay, Nana wants to be strong and become a superwoman. Haha, good. Nana will definitely become more powerful than a superwoman. Tang Zheng tenderly stroked Nana's head. They returned to Lu Qingmei's residence. How was your trip to Dianan? Why did it take so long? After comforting Nana to sleep, Lu Qingmei couldn't help but ask. There was a little accident. My identity as a cultivator was exposed. Tang Zheng said. Ah, then what should we do? Lu Qingmei's face suddenly changed. She already understood what this meant. Tang Zheng put his arm around her shoulder and comforted her. Don't worry so much. There's nothing to be afraid of. Moreover, my strength has increased a lot. It's not so easy for the average person to kill me. Seeing that he was full of confidence, Lu Qingmei was a little relieved, but did not forget to remind him. You must pay attention to your safety in the future. Your new job doesn't seem to be going well. Tang Zheng changed the subject. Lu Qingmei sighed and said, In fact, it's not bad at work. It's just that it's so unpleasant tonight. If you're not happy, just change your job. Don't force yourself. Tang Zheng didn't want to dare her too much. She was an independent person. She should have her own life and circle. Tang Zheng didn't intend to tell her what to do. I know. Anyway, I'm very happy right now. I'll see later. Lu Qingmei said indifferently. Tang Zheng nodded. After tonight's incident, naturally no one would have any bad ideas about her or secretly make things difficult for her. After all, they had to weigh the pros and cons. I've been gone for so long. Did you miss me? Tang Zheng turned over and pressed her down. He sniffed the fragrance of her neck and softly asked. Lu Qingmei heard this and her heart moved. Her body began to soften as she whispered. I didn't miss you. I've been gone for so long without any news. Is it because there's a beauty in Dianan that you forgot about home? Tang Zheng's mind was filled with thoughts of martial arts. However, He didn't bat an eyelid and flatly denied it. There's no beauty as attractive as you, Teacher Lu. You're not allowed to call me teacher. Lu Qingmei's heartstrings trembled. When she heard the word teacher, there was a strange feeling that touched her heart. Hee, Teacher Lu is shy? Tang Zheng's finger lightly brushed across her body. He felt her body temperature gradually rise and slightly trembled. Don't. Lu Qingmei stopped him. Teacher Lu, let's have a health class. Tang Zheng strangely laughed and moved. The room suddenly became as warm as spring. The next day, Tang Zheng woke up early in the morning and made breakfast. The three people ate breakfast together. He brought Nana and Xiaofan to school. After many days of separation, the school was still brimming with a youthful atmosphere. Even the cold winter was unable to disperse this atmosphere. Before he left, he was still a famous person in school. Wherever he went, he would attract the gazes of many people. However, after so many days of silence, everyone returned to their calm state. Although there were still people looking at him, they weren't as hot as before. He was familiar with the way and avoided the dormitory manager's detection range. He brought Nana to the dormitory. However, he discovered that the three people were still hiding under the blankets. He couldn't help but mischievously yell, "The instructor is here!" As soon as he said this, the three people sat up as if it was a conditioned reflex. Sinosaurus even directly stood up and hit the ceiling with a bang. Ouch! Sinosaurus rubbed his head and jumped around in pain on the bed. He angrily said, "Which bastard is randomly yelling so early in the morning? Are you trying to kill me without paying with your life?" Before he finished speaking, he stared straight at Tang Zheng and cried out in alarm. "Old 3 is back! Old 3 is back!" With a pang sound, he jumped down from the bed. His movements were incomparably agile as he pounced towards Tang Zheng like a big black bear. Wang Shiji and Zhou Yan also got up and looked at Tang Zheng in disbelief. They quickly climbed down the stairs and rushed up to hug Tang Zheng. "Hey, stop right there!" Nan Nan was a mischievous child, so she shouted at the top of her lungs. The three of them seemed to have activated the brakes and stopped dangerously in front of Tang Zheng. Sinosaurus smiled and said, "Little beauty Nana, why are you here?" When Tang Zheng brought Nana to school, he was already familiar with the brothers in the dormitory. Nana put her hands on her hips and said seriously, "Of course I'm here to study." "Humph, you are all lazy people. I got up early, but you are still in bed." The three of them were speechless and their faces flushed red. Wang Shiji mumbled and explained, "We don't have any classes in the morning." "Heh, let's not talk about this for now. Old 3 is back. We need to celebrate. Old 3 must have suffered a lot outside during this period of time. Look at how dark his face is." "Second brother, your observation is really meticulous. Could it be that a day without seeing each other is like 3 autumns? You want to be gay with old 3, right?" Zhou Yan teased. Sinosaurus's face hardened and said, "I am a straight man. Moreover, I already have Lu Xian. How could I fall in love with someone else? I am a dedicated man." Tang Zheng's eyes lit up and teased, "Yo, second brother, your progress is quite fast. You took down Lu Xian so quickly?" Back then, during the dormitory friendship of 502 and Yi Dingdang, Sinosaurus had already taken a fancy to Lu Xian. Who would have thought that during the period of time when Tang Zheng was away, the two of them would actually achieve a positive result? Sinosaurus scratched his head and said, "Of course, don't you see who I am? Although I'm not as popular as third brother, I'm still the second most popular person in our dormitory. Fourth brother was chased by Li Fangfei, and Lu Xian was chased by you. As for third brother, you're even less of a match for him. Who knows how many beauties he has?" Wang Shiji mercilessly took over his bottom line. Sinosaurus was not angry, and said embarrassedly, "Boss, you don't have a goal yet. I'm someone who has already gained something. You don't have the qualifications to laugh at me. I plan to study hard in university and then find a good job after graduation. I don't want to waste my time in a relationship." Wang Shiji said seriously, "Moreover, the cost of a relationship is so high, I can't afford it. TSK, you can spend less money in a relationship. Whenever you like a girl, our dormitory will mobilize everyone to help you take her down." Sinosaurus patted his chest and said. Tang Zheng laughed, and looked at Zhou Yan. Zhou Yan's family background was not ordinary, and even until now, Tang Zheng still had not figured out his background, but Li Fengfei's eyes were fiery gold, and actually chased after him. However, it seemed that Li Fengfei did not succeed. "Oh, 3, where have you been all this time? Professor Qi also came back, but you disappeared without a trace. We went to ask him, but he stammered. We thought something bad had happened." Zhou Yan asked with concern. "I'm fine. I was just delayed by some things. Is Professor Qi all right?" "Sigh, let's not talk about it anymore." When Professor Qi came back, it was as if he had changed into a different person. Furthermore, his classes are being replaced by other teachers. I wonder what he's busy with right now. Right now, this teacher's lecture is not interesting at all. It's far worse than Professor Qi's. Sinosaurus muttered. Wang Shiji nodded in agreement with a serious expression. Chapter 448. Tang Zheng asked his roommates to take care of Nana. Then, he went to look for Qi Shaowen. Fortunately, Qi Shaowen was still sane. Otherwise, Tang Zheng would feel guilty. However, Qi Shaowen looked at Tang Zheng strangely. At first it was joy. Then it was surprise. He looked around nervously as if he was afraid of something. "Professor Qi, why are you so careful?" Tang Zheng asked with a smile that was not a smile. Qi Shaowen patted his chest and said with lingering fear, "I thought you wouldn't come back. You don't know that after we came back, everyone was quarantined and interrogated. They were only released after a few days." Tang Zheng nodded and said, "What a big fuss. It seems that the 100,000 Hills incident is very important." Of course it's important. This is the biggest discovery in the archaeological world. Of course, it's beyond our abilities. Qi Shaowen looked gloomy. All the so-called big discoveries in the archaeological world over the years are nothing compared to this one. This has overturned traditional knowledge. Haha, it's because you've overturned tradition that the higher-ups put you under strict scrutiny and gave you a gag order, right? Tang Zheng said calmly. "How did you know?" "I guessed." "That's an accurate guess. The higher-ups are afraid that I'll spill the beans, so they don't let me attend classes. Instead, they let me focus on my research. Actually, this is good. This is a big discovery. It's enough for me to study for many years," Qi Shaowen said. Tang Zheng frowned slightly. "So it's the higher-ups' order that you don't attend classes?" "Yes. In order to avoid contact with too many people, I even suspected that I was being watched for a while. But it seems that I'm too sensitive." Qi Shaowen smiled sheepishly. Tang Zheng could not bring himself to smile. Obviously, his suspicions were true. The officials took this matter so seriously that they would really keep an eye on the archaeological team. However, it was obvious that they strictly obeyed the order and did not tell anyone about what happened in the 100,000 Hills. That was why the surveillance was lifted. "By the way, why did you come out? I thought you'd be in danger." Tang Zheng said, "Of course there was danger, but I was lucky enough to escape with my life." Qi Shaowen patted Tang Zheng's shoulder and lamented, "It's good that you're alive. At that time, I really thought that I was going to die in the 100,000 mountains. I don't care about my old bones, but it's a pity that you died at such a young age." Tang Zheng grinned. "I won't die so easily. You didn't meet anyone from the government when you left the 100,000 mountains? From the looks of it, they won't sit idly by and do nothing, right?" Tang Zheng gave him a thumbs up and praised, "Professor Qi's foresight is amazing. Of course I met them, but they can't do anything to me for the time being, so I guess I'm safe." Qi Shaowen sucked in a breath of cold air and sighed. "Oh, you. When I first met you, I really didn't expect you to be so extraordinary. You can actually reach a balance with the government. However, I still want to remind you that there are no eternal enemies, only eternal interests. To the government, you're still an unstable factor. They won't sit idly by and do nothing. You have to be careful." Tang Zheng was very touched. He said, "Thank you for your concern, Professor Qi. I understand." Tang Zheng already had a plan. As long as he and the Wu tribe quickly became stronger, the government would naturally be more afraid of them and would not dare to act rashly. This was a kind of deterrence, just like nuclear weapons. The nuclear powers would not really attack anyone with nuclear weapons, but they would send a message to the world that they had such a powerful weapon. Therefore, they would be confident in their words and not dare to do anything to them. Otherwise, they would fight to the death and no one would have an easy time. Since Tang Zhang had achieved this level of deterrence, he could rest easy for the time being. Professor Qi, I need to trouble you with something. Tang Zhang said, I want to study the information related to the ancient Emperor Qi Yu and the Battle of Zhuolu. Qi Xiaofan smiled proudly. His eyes narrowed into slits. He said, I knew you would want to know these things, so I've already started to study them. Tang Zhang was overjoyed. Qi Xiaofan's knowledge in archaeology was much deeper than Tang Zheng's. With his research, Tang Zhang would definitely be able to find out the truth about the ancient era. Professor Qi, have you heard of the term stairway to heaven in your research materials? Tang Zheng asked as an idea came to him. The stairway to heaven was of great importance. Tang Zheng already had 30 pieces. He was eager to know the whereabouts of the other dozens of pieces. Although Tang Zheng had not decided whether or not to bring the cultivators back from the skies beyond, at least there was this possibility now. He had to control this possibility in his own hands, otherwise, if it fell into the hands of someone with evil intentions, then the world would really be in chaos. Stairway to heaven? Qi Xiaofan scratched his white hair and fell into deep thought. Suddenly, he rushed to a bookcase next to him. There were many large books on it. Many of them were books that Tang Zheng had never heard of before. They were obviously professional books. Qi Xiaofan pulled out a thick book from the pile and quickly flipped it open. Tang Zheng found that this was not a complete book, but a book made up of many sheets of paper glued together in a messy manner. These sheets of paper were very ancient. They were obviously ancient books. Qi Xiaofan carefully flipped through them. Suddenly, he stopped. His eyes lit up and fixed on a piece of paper. Tang Zheng hurriedly went over and saw that he was staring at a piece of paper. No, it was not a piece of paper. It was a piece of animal skin. There was a picture on it. The top of the picture was surrounded by clouds and mist. It was like a fairyland, but there were steps extending from the clouds. They extended straight down and landed on a snow-covered mountain. Mount Buzhou. Tang Zheng could not help but exclaim. This mountain was too familiar. Wasn't it the Mount Buzhou in the depths of the prehistoric heavenly tomb? You know this mountain? Qi Xiaofan was shocked. Tang Zheng nodded. Yes, this mountain is called Mount Buzhou. According to the picture, this mountain towered into the clouds as if it was connected to the sky. How tall is that? Qi Xiaofan exclaimed. Tang Zheng recalled the scene of Mount Buzhou. Although Mount Buzhou was very tall, it was far from reaching the clouds. It was a little different from the picture. However, Mount Buzhou was too mysterious. There were also mysterious restrictions. He could not judge it according to common sense. This is the stairway to heaven. Tang Zheng pointed at the steps and said firmly. He did not expect that there were written records about Mount Buzhou and the stairway to heaven. However, it made sense. In ancient times, Mount Buzhou and the stairway to heaven were not a secret. It was only after the 100-Change Star Lord destroyed the stairway to heaven that the attention on Mount Buzhou declined. After that, it disappeared completely from people's sight. In ancient times, there must have been records about Mount Buzhou and the stairway to heaven. However, most of them should have disappeared in the long river of time. Fortunately, this piece of beast skin was left behind. I accidentally found this when I was flipping through ancient books. I did not know the information in it, so I just collected it. When you mentioned the stairway to heaven just now, I thought of this picture in a flash of inspiration. I didn't expect to get it right. Qi Xiaowan's face was flushed red. He was even more excited than Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng, why are you looking for the stairway to heaven? Qi Xiaowan asked curiously. It's very useful. Tang Zheng did not say it out loud. After all, this was a very important matter. It might not be a good thing to tell him. Instead, it might harm him. This stairway to heaven has been destroyed. However, the cornerstones of the stairway to heaven are called black stones of heaven and earth. They are scattered all over the world. I want to find these black stones of heaven and earth now. Black stones of heaven and earth? The stairway to heaven is made of black stones of heaven and earth? Qi Xiaowan was very surprised. Tang Zheng was even more surprised. It was impossible for ordinary people to know about the black stones of heaven and earth. Even Tian Chanzi had never heard of it. It was very strange that Qi Shaowen knew about it. Qi Shaowen could not wait to say, "I've seen the words black stones of heaven and earth in an ancient book." Tang Zheng slapped his head. Qi Shaowen was very knowledgeable. He was like a human computer. He had memorized so much obscure knowledge. In fact, archaeology required a lot of complicated knowledge. It included astronomy, geography, history, and many other aspects. Of course, Qi Shaowen knew a lot of things. This is a book that introduces the majestic imperial city in the capital city. It introduces the black stones of heaven and earth. It is said that the black stones of heaven and earth are stones that are born from the essence of heaven and earth. They are spiritual and have many magical effects. This was a new piece of information. Tang Zheng listened with great interest. When this majestic imperial city was built, many mysterious things happened. It is said that every time a palace was about to be completed, it would collapse for no reason. Many people died. The emperor was furious. He ordered his officials to solve this problem. Later, he found several pieces of black stones of heaven and earth and buried them underground. After the palace was completed, it never collapsed again. It was really strange. The ancient book did not mention the specific reason. When I first read about it, I thought it was deliberately mystifying. I thought it was impossible for such a miraculous thing to happen. Now that I think about it, it is very likely to be true. Tang Zheng was overjoyed. At the same time, he also understood something. When the imperial city was built, it was to imprison the five-clawed golden dragon. Every time a palace was about to be completed, the five-clawed golden dragon must have been resisting and destroyed the palace. Later on, someone found a heaven and earth spirit stone and buried it in the ground. It merged with the imperial city's original spirit array and strengthened the effect of the array. That was how the five-clawed golden dragon was suppressed. The five-clawed golden dragon had never mentioned anything about the black stones of heaven and earth. He wondered if it knew anything about them. Tang Zheng, is this information useful to you? Qi Shaowen asked. Tang Zheng seemed to have woken up from a dream. He shouted, "Yes, it's very useful. Professor Qi, thank you." Tang Zheng hugged Qi Shaowen. Qi Shaowen was extremely embarrassed. He patted Chu Li's shoulder and said, "I'm also very happy that this information is useful to you." Tang Zheng reluctantly let go. He said, "Professor Qi, I wonder if you can continue to collect information about this in the future?" Qi Shaowen said without hesitation, "Of course you can. Although I don't know what you'll do with it, I know that you won't do anything bad with it. I trust you." Tang Zheng promised seriously, "Professor Qi, don't worry. I won't do anything bad with the black stones of heaven and earth. I'll take my leave now." Chapter 449. It was not convenient to go to the imperial city to find the five-clawed golden dragon during the day, so he could only wait until night time. In addition, 502 had prepared a welcoming dinner for him, so he had no choice but to attend. The location of this gathering was not far from the school. When Tang Zheng arrived, the others had already arrived. They even brought their companions, which were Yi Dingdong's dormitory members. Seeing Tang Zheng enter, Yi Dingdang was the first to stand up, revealing a brilliant smile, and greeted, "You're here. Beauty Yi has been waiting for a long time. Hurry up and sit next to Beauty Yi." Sinosaurus pressed Tang Zheng to the seat beside Yi Dingdang. The others looked at them with smiles. Yi Dingdang did not refuse, and instead accepted it graciously. "Tang Zheng, I heard that you went to archaeology recently. Was it fun?" Hao Dan tilted his head and asked mischievously. Hao Dan and Feng Yong had already become a pair, but Feng Yong was in class today and did not have time to come over. Hao Dan had heard a lot about Tang Zheng's deeds from Feng Yong, and was quite curious about him, and even a little bit worshipped him. "It's not fun." Tang Zheng shook his head. This time, it could be said to be a narrow escape, and it was not fun at all. How can it not be fun? Don't all archaeologists go to ancient tombs or famous mountains and rivers? At least it's more fun than staying in school. Hao Dan said in disbelief. Archaeology is not only fun, there are also unknown dangers. How could that be? Hao Dan rolled his eyes and had an idea. Could it be that it's like the legends, you guys went to an ancient tomb and then met a zombie? Tang Zhang was stunned for a moment, then couldn't help but laugh. Your imagination is really too rich, it's a waste not to write a novel. You actually found this advantage of mine. I've always wanted to be a literary and artistic young woman. How Dan boasted. The others were also amused by her cute appearance and laughed. Li Fengfei looked at Tang Zhang with a complicated gaze. In the past, he thought that the person with the deepest foundation in 502 was Zhou Yan, so he did not hesitate to dive into pursuing Zhou Yan's career. Later on, he discovered that Tang Zhang was actually a piece of unpolished jade. He looked ordinary and mediocre, but he contained a wealth of treasures. Even though Li Fengfei prided herself as an outstanding treasure hunter, she truly had no way of exploring Tang Zheng's treasure. Tang Zheng's style of disappearing for dozens of days was not her type. However, seeing Yi Dingdang diving headfirst into Tang Zheng's big net, Li Fengfei was really shocked. Li Fengfei could already confirm that Yi Dingdang came from a big family with a prominent background, but she was deeply in love with Tang Zheng, which made her extremely puzzled. However, Li Fengfei did not dare to underestimate Tang Zheng in the slightest. Just the limelight of the martial arts assembly alone had overshadowed most of the students. Furthermore, she could not see through Tang Zheng in the slightest. Lu Xian leaned on Sinosaurus's side like a little bird, looking at the few of them with a smile. She was originally a person of few words, but now that she was conquered by Sinosaurus, she seemed to have become even less talkative, and became a little woman. All right, everyone, don't just talk about me. While I was gone, a lot of things happened between you guys. Hi hey, each and every one of you is a pair. Tang Zheng said with a smile. Could it be that only you are allowed to set the fire, and we are not allowed to light the lamp? This is called charm, do you know? Sinosaurus laughed and boasted. You still dare to talk about charm? If you didn't pester us, would you be able to chase after our Lu Xian? Li Fengfei teased. Lu Xian was moved by my sincerity. What do you mean by pester us? You don't know anything about romance. Sinosaurus retorted righteously. Lu Xian rolled her eyes and pouted. You're just pestering us, and you don't allow others to talk about it. Sinosaurus chuckled and added, hee hee, if you say so, then so be it. I'll listen to you. Yo, you're already following your wife's tune so quickly. Second bro, I think you'll definitely be a henpecked husband in the future. Wang Shiji teased. Sinosaurus replied disapprovingly. What henpecked husband? This is called being lovey-dovey. A bachelor like you won't understand. Tang Zheng waved his hand and said, all right, there are children here. You guys don't have to be lovey-dovey. Let's eat and drink. That's right. Nana is hungry. Let's eat. Nana held onto her stomach and stared at the table full of dishes with her eyes shining. Let's eat. The atmosphere warmed up and they toasted each other. Sinosaurus told a few jokes, and the atmosphere at the table became more lively. Did they make things difficult for you when I left yesterday? Tang Zheng whispered to Yi Dingdang. No, I ignored their words. What's the use of making things difficult for me? Yi Dingdang said indifferently. I didn't have time to say it yesterday. I found that Yi Tianming came with ill intentions. He seemed to have bad intentions towards your family. Tang Zheng reminded. Yi Dingdang curled her lips and said, everyone knows Sima Zhao's intentions. It's not that easy for him to deal with our family. Don't think that so many people are standing on his side. Not all of them are dead set on him. Those people are fence-sitters. Oh, that is to say, as long as your father sits firmly on the throne of the Ye family, those people will naturally side with your father? Of course, but I'm not interested in those people. It doesn't matter if there's one more or one less. Tang Zheng pondered for a moment and said, remind your father to be careful. He is too honest, but Yi Tianming is not. Be careful of his dirty tricks and deepen Yi Xuanji's prejudice against your father. If that happens, the position of the patriarch may be taken away. Although I don't know why your father was expelled from the Ye family, I'm guessing that it has something to do with Yi Tianming. Yi Dingdang raised her eyebrows and said, I'll tell him. But with my temper, there's no point in staying in the Ye family. It's best to just leave. Tang Zheng shook his head. That won't do. That will make things easy for Yi Tianming. I think Yi Xuanji wants your father to compete with Yi Tianming. It's still unknown who will be in charge of the Ye family in the future. At this crucial moment, we can't relax and give the other party a chance. Yi Dingdang glared at him and said, "You men are all obsessed with power." Tang Zheng smiled embarrassedly. "Even if we don't like it, we can't let the enemy take advantage of it. Moreover, your father is a member of the Ye family. If he is in charge of the Ye family, it will be a good thing." "All right, I can't win against you. Hey, what are the two of you whispering about? Let's go home and whisper under the covers." How Dan saw that the two people's heads were almost close together, and she couldn't help but make fun of them. "You and Feng Yong are the ones who are whispering under the covers." Yi Dingdong's face flushed red. Tang Zheng coughed and changed the topic. "We're done eating. Let's go home. If you want to get a room, go get one. I won't disturb you." "Wow, you're talking about yourself, right? The two of you can't wait to get under the covers?" Li Fengfei stared at Tang Zheng and Yi Dingdang and chuckled. "I'm going back to the dormitory. When the lights are off, I'll see who's not back. Then, I'll know who went out to get a room." Yi Dingdang countered. It can't be. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Are the two of you really not going out tonight?" Nana finally finished the food in her bowl. She raised her head and said seriously, "Brother, let's go back. Otherwise, Sister Lu will definitely be waiting anxiously." "Sister Lu? Who's Sister Lu?" Suddenly, everyone quietened down and stared at Tang Zheng. Even Yi Dingdang could not help but widen her eyes. Tang Zheng knew that something was wrong. This lass was going to expose him if she did not choose her words carefully. He hurriedly said, "The kids are just playing. Since everyone is done eating, let's go. Dingdang, Nana and I will make a move first." After he finished speaking, he pulled Nana and left the restaurant as if he was escaping. "Brother, why are you leaving? Where's all the delicious food?" Nana innocently stared at him and asked. Tang Zheng did not know whether to laugh or cry. This little girl almost got into big trouble. So he seriously said, "Nana, brother will make a promise with you, okay?" "Okay, come, let's make a pinky promise. We won't change our promise for 100 years. Nana excitedly clapped her hands. "In the future, don't mention Sister Lu's matters to outsiders," Tang Zheng seriously said. "Why? When you grow up, you'll understand adult matters." Tang Zheng patted her little head and said. Nana did not understand and asked, "Could it be that I can't tell Sister Dingdang?" "Of course, I know that Nana is the best at keeping secrets. This is our secret." Nana happily clapped her hands and said, "Okay, Nana promises brother that Nana will definitely keep it a secret." "Then let's go home." "That's him. Chop him to death." Suddenly, an angry roar rang out and a large group of people surged over. At this moment, the few people in the restaurant also dispersed. No one went to get a room, but a few girls gathered together and started chattering. "Dingdang, who is that Sister Lu?" Li Fengfei asked. Yi Dingdang blankly shook her head. She really did not know who this person was. No matter how smart she was, she would not have thought that this person was her high school class teacher, Lu Qingmei. "There's a situation," Hao Dan said resolutely. Lu Xian also nodded her head seriously. Yi Dingdang panicked. Could it be that there was really a situation? She knew about Tang Zheng and Feng Shishir. Could it be that there was another person? Maybe it's just a kid playing around. Don't take it seriously. Yi Dingdang took a deep breath and suppressed the panic in her heart as she forced out a smile. "Dingdang, don't force yourself to smile. Your expression has already betrayed your heart. Moreover, it's better to believe in this kind of thing than not to believe in it. Making preparations early is the best strategy." Li Fengfei warned with the appearance of an expert. Yi Dingdong's panic grew stronger and stronger. "If you secretly follow him one day, he will definitely reveal a flaw. As long as you follow the clues, everything will come to light." Li Fengfei clenched her fists and waved her hands in the air as she said. "Yes, a woman must fight for her own happiness." Hao Dan and Lu Xian agreed in unison. Tang Zheng did not expect that because of Nana's unintentional words, he would reveal a huge flaw. However, at this moment, he did not have the mood to care about this matter. This was because he was facing a large group of people, and among them, There were even people holding guns and swaggering at him. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.